She said she want to do what she want to do. She want to prove. She want to move. Want to get into. Want to do. Cause she want to screw. Want to do. Want to do. Want to do. Want to do now. She said she know about me. She know the bees. She know the bees. She want to see. They sit on me. They get rid of these and hit the streets and get the seeds and hit the mix and hit the beats. With the doonies off with the fucking seat. That's not the link I want. Back at it, yet a motherfucker again. Yes, indeed, my child. I learned something. Also, we're going to be looking at, of course it's limited, that's fine. That's acceptable. I don't care about that. Get off my nuts, YouTube. Oh my god. Yeah, the channel is definitely fucking auto-demonetized, I can tell you that much. Let me get to the yams. Let me get to the yams. Yeah. Show me the way, 'cause I got bills to pay. Let me get to the yams. I'm just putting up stock image for that. So I was saying, I have learned YouTube definitely has just permanently demonetized my channel. I can confirm this much. Yeah. Alright, where's that link that I was doing? Because I was doing a fucking thing that involves my chat and setting up this window. Involves my chat and setting. I would like to know why I keep seeing this fucking bug. I keep seeing the bug where the YouTube chat does not load in the actual physical chat itself. The window is there, but the chat takes like 5 minutes. There it goes. 5 minutes to show me the feature to be able to pop the chat out from the video side, not in the back end, so I can be able to fix the URL link and direct it at the correct window so I can project it to the screen. I don't know why the fuck it does that. I don't know why it's been doing that. I need it to stop because it is annoying. Anywho, I don't know. Maybe one too many niggas. But it is. Disney distraction. I'm gonna get to the yams, sweet yams. Show me the way, 'cause I've got bills to pay. Let me get to them yams. Sweet yams. That's not the window. Well, actually, that is the window, but I need to pull it off to the side. I don't need this. I don't... This, and this. And this. This over here, down this here. And this, and this, and this, and Twitter, and eclectic window. Those, and that. Where's the window? Drag this off to the side here. And rearrange. This one here. This one here. Window large. Minimize. Window large. Boop. Bop. Bada boom. Bing. Bop. Boom. Pow. Where's the pow? Not the pow. Close this window. This one. Minimize. Now it should be allies. There we go. Wasn't functioning. Lordy. Alright. How are you guys doing? Or I guess I should say guy. Hello, singular person. Okay. Also, this is a fun day. You guys can join inside of the Discord and get in here. We're watching videos today because I picked up on some bullshit that happened. And I find it very fucking... I wouldn't say upsetting. I would say more annoying. Because we're featuring videos from another fucking... one of the fucking bread tubers. Again. Noah Samsen. Those of you probably don't remember. So I can just throw it up on the screen really fast because it's one of our older versus chats. Those of you who remember last time on Power Rangers Time Force. We look at takes from Noah Samsen when he was simping for Vosh, hoping that he wouldn't push his shit in too hard. And Noah's extremely bad opinion when it came to criticizing other people and trying to justify how actually, because this is 7 months back, how actually, because I don't know who a person is, that means that I deserve to have the right to lie about them instead of talking actual truth about them. Because, you know, that's what we should do. We should lie. We should lie about people we don't know. We should lie about people we don't know instead of just simply going through the evidence, going through the examples, going through the system, going through anything, and just simply tell the truth. Man didn't want to tell the truth. He got fucking shit pushing for it. And now he is back again, doing that thing that they do. We're gonna go through it. I don't have his video in hand, but I feel like I don't need to have it because I have three particulars here. I'm going to watch them in order. starting with the thing that had the inciting incident. And then, of course, we're going to be featuring a video from the good old homie, the man, the myth, the legend, the boyo, BASSFZz, Xerxes himself. Xerxes is back again! I don't know. Don't care. But, before we get into that, how are you all doing? How's your booty hole? Have you percolated today? Have you got in your 17 strokes? I have 3 questions. What's a bread tuber? True, that would be worth 3 questions. Did I take your suggestions about checking out the Rainbow6Z's female characters? You know what? Here's what I'm going to do. I am going to open up a side window right now in incognito, and I'm going to look up the Rule 34 of Rainbow Six Siege. Rule 34. Not bad. I'll look at that later. Anywho, what is a breadtuber? So, breadtube is the side of users on the platform, specifically here on Twitch, as well as on, here on YouTube, as well as on Twitch, and everywhere else on the fucking internet, where losers try to consolidate their power together into a structure. But the second question is, what do you think of Nagatoro? Nagatoro is one of those kinds of girls that you beat the doonies off of. She's one of those girls you beat the doonies off of. Because she's a yandere, sometimes. Or tsundere, in general. And she just needs dick. This is a character who just needs dick. She bullies a guy who she's super into because she likes the sick thrill and edge that women get when they bully men that they perceive to be weak. But usually, the way that those stories end is usually that nerd becomes a man and he beats the doonies off them, and then become loyal, dutiful housewives that are dick drunk. Return to your original question. It is a group of fucking losers who focus all of their attention in trying to be extremely online and political, that jump into situations and give shitty fucking takes about the world, about politics, about information, about people, about events, and about history from the perspective lens of being, quote, on the left, left wing, left of center, etc. And effectively are the campaign source of people trying to create movements, hashtags, and awareness on the internet for stupid-ass opinions that have to somehow tie back to how actually all these things that are an issue are a problem. And the reason these things are issues and problems is because we problematize them. In the case of example here, Noah Samsen is one such fucking loser who once upon a time, not long ago, tried to make a smug hit piece in the form of a video essay. Much like many of the things we end up watching here on Versus Chat. And his entire hit piece was basically, here's the reason why we should worry about debate bros. Because for breadtubers, especially those that are essayist breadtubers, like Noah Samsen, he doesn't actually do debating. He doesn't do thinking. He doesn't do thought. He doesn't do experiment. He doesn't do lessons. He doesn't do learning. He doesn't read things. He doesn't learn things. What he does is he makes hit pieces and talking points against you, and tries to play on a narrative. In this particular video at the time, the one that I had on screen here, where Noah came in with opinions about Vosh, which, if you don't know about Vosh, I don't know how to tell you anything else from there. But he came in with an opinion about Vosh, and about how actually Vosh was a really fucking person. Was really fucking stupid in all the ways that it could matter. And all the points that I made from here. For example, quote, if everyone operated like you, there would be more harmony and understanding. People attack those that worry that they'll replace them. Those that live in the audacity benefit more from causing chaos than solving problems. And the reason why is because when you solve a problem, you can no longer use it for a negative or positive benefit. So the more time that you spend removed away from a win or a loss when you try to criticize people on the internet, the less talking point that it can ultimately become. And the self-referential thing that I had here was what I explained before is the veto gamble. And you know what the veto gamble is? You're going to have to go watch the veto video for that. But effectively, Noah Samsen and people like him don't make money by making good content. They make money by trying to explain how actually the reason why people do things is because they just want power. They want power, they want focus, they want privilege, they want things that they want. But rather than just saying, listen, they want things because they want to improve the world, it's instead, no, they want things because they're racists. Or, if you quote things directly from our favorite fucking loser on the internet, they use cudgels. They use cudgels while they use a sledgehammer in the form of accusing you of being the thing that they are doing, so that they can use you as one of the bad ones and present themselves as one of the good ones. I didn't get to read your third message there. You just deleted it. When they do this, they then end up creating the kind of content that leads to the reactions from users, which today we're going to be looking at videos from patient Xina, because she is the nexus point upon this conversation here. And I guess I should pull up the fourth one here, because I'm going to probably have to get it directly from Noah Samsen. Here we go. Here we are. Here we are.
Hey everybody.
This. Yep, that'll be 4. But we get usually responses from people like Noah, like this, because Noah doesn't actually have to defend most of his positions. People like him don't actually have to work towards most of their positions. They can just say shit and then run away and walk away from their opinions. What key would you like to join versus chat? Also, I'm just gonna call Aiden. But anyways, because I'm getting circular now. TLDR, Noah Samsen and some of the people I criticize are what we call breadtubers. They're basically internet talking heads that instead of making content like that you would make from people like myself, from people like Jay, from people like Mahler, from people even like Psychic Pebbles, or from people like Internet Historian or Count Dankula. They instead are extremely politically online, and they are extremely politically online to the point that all of their viewpoints basically exist to say this person is a problem and that's why we should cancel them. They spend a lot of their time trying to deplatform other people by trying to find a way to make everything that somebody could say or that somebody thinks, even if it's in a vacuum, and even if they are the expert on the thing that they're talking about, and framing it as a cudgel. And they use that accusation as a giant sledgehammer to try and force in their worldview. And when they get criticized for that shitty worldview, for that extremely outside opinion that has never touched grass, they then have to either double down in their opinion and justify how, actually, no, this is exactly as bad as it sounds. See examples like Xanderhall, for example. Or any of the dumbass people who end up making videos that are really fucking dumb about media, especially if they lack media literacy. And the majority of them exist as like filler content in between big dramas on the internet. So the best example and the best definition I can give you of what is a breadtuber is it's a clout chaser. In and of itself. It's a race-baiting clout chaser. Not always, all of them at the same time, but a majority of them. They can be very, very boring and very, very exhausting because they just don't know how the world works. They just don't know how the world works. So, anywho. So, some people just like some guy are bread tubers. He is not a bread tuber. In the case of just some guy, he's just a on the left liberal who doesn't agree with the hive mind position that bread tubers represent. Because bread tubers also happen to be some of the most, quote, large channels on YouTube. But that's because long time ago, back at the beginning of the Goober Gay, they framed every single person that criticized their worldview, their opinions, and their politics as alt-right pipelines. And they begged Mama Wajiki to give them preferential treatment and status, which then positioned them as the always to be known public figures. And what ended up happening is that they created an alt-left pipeline into Antifa because they refused to criticize the bigger positions of people who would cause problems in their movement, in their ideology, in their dogma, and ultimately allowed for what basically the last 15 years of politics on the internet have been. It's why Reddit's a fucking lefty shithole. It's the reason why Twitter was a lefty shithole until we became Elon's Twitter. It's the reason why Twitch is filled with them, especially those that were debate lords that made their content by being orbiters of people like Destiny before they then tried to cancel Destiny to cannibalize and subsume his fan base. They're people who don't have the ability to make it on their own, basically. Do I think that just some guy can be saved? Yes, if he stops being a little pussy. That is also my same opinion about Liana Kersner, because Liana Kersner, 5 years back, actually followed me on my main account. Then when that main account got banned and I made another one, I paid attention to the fact that her opinions has just gotten more and more deranged, and she just refuses to do things like conversate and see different perspectives and opinions. Because they're the kind of YouTuber that blocks people. And then when they don't have people on their side or giving their opinion and they get pushback, they use their audience size as justification for why their opinion isn't wrong. See, you're just a nobody and I have X amount of followers that support me, so he's really shit. That's the way that most of them think. You can't really save a mindset like that. The only thing you can do is antagonize them. I'm asking some people if they want to be surprise guests. Either they're enough self-aware to the point of absurdity, or they're just aware of their hypocrisy and they're truly fucked up. That is correct, Albert. No, Carl, stop torturing yourself. Even though this is kind of entertaining to watch. It's okay, Skirma. I have liquor. My brain is inoculated. So anywho. After I'm done asking my potential surprise guests if they'd like to become actual surprise guests, we can get started. In the meanwhile, we're going to be looking at things on Twitter. And we're also going to be looking at some TikToks that I've made that are going to be reposted once I get around to posting them. Because y'all might not watch the Carl posts, but I post them on YouTube. And if you're not aware that they exist, here's your chance. Here's your chance to see them in all of their glory. If I can find them. If my page ever fucking loads, the fuck? There we go. I am logged. Open a TikTok mobile app, press the plus. Tap the thing, and then scan the QR code. Yes, I authorize. I have logged into my account. Alright. Carl posts. For those of you who are new here, who have never actually been able to watch things live before, Carl posts are jokes that I post on the internet. Some of them are more famous than others, but I make them daily because they're basically reactions. I try to make humor and interesting, funny shit all the time, and not everybody always sees them. But hey, I do what I do. I do what I do. I do what I do.
Where the hell do y'all be finding these men that are obsessed with you? Good fathers?
I don't tell you where you can find us, good buddy. The dumpster. Because y'all dump us. You can also find us in our houses, minding our fucking business, enjoying our peace, because you would not protect it. You can also find us inside your thick friend, because we like big women and small women, and we with them shits. Because we with them shits. Eat it up. Groceries, snacks, and beverages too. Because, and repeat after me, girls, one man's trash is another man's treasure, which means one girl's ex is a new girl's... Be good, beloved.
Where the hell do y'all be finding these men that are obsessed with you?
Another.
Where
Okay,
the
I
hell-
can just let her go.
She even wear a herd on her back like mine. I make her feel right when it's wrong like mine. Man, she never had a look like mine. But man, I ain't never seen her ass like her.
This is a PSA that is targeted at two particular groups. The first group, the women that actually like men, you're okay. You have good coochie. And as for the rest of you, you don't like men. Talk happened. You don't like men. Those men aren't your friends. They're your support network to help you with your self-esteem so you can feel better. You don't like men. They couldn't really be your friends. Because if they were your male friends, you would talk to them about how you feel instead of talking shit about them on TikTok for clout. You don't like men. Just like everybody else in those comment sections. Go be a lesbian. The streets are waiting. They're calling you. Dial now. See? This is how we know your motherfuckers don't listen. Peep old girl's page again. Go ahead and read that bottom message
Oh my god.
on the bottom of the screen.
Keeps trying to lag.
Those of you who don't know how to use TikTok correctly, use two fingers on the screen and look and read. You won't get your bi-wife energy in touch with his femininity side and goofy golden retriever worshiping the ground you walk on until you learn to balance yourself. It's bad enough too many of you believe that you're just simply going to luck yourself into a loving husband. But really peep your own words here. But Gomez is very submissive. No. He is not. People with small vocabularies. Gomez does not simp for Morticia. Morticia and Gomez simp for each other. Reciprocating energy. How about you put that shit in alignment with your chakras? Starting with your pH balance. It's off. See? This is how we know your motherfuckers.
I'm looking for a yellow bone, long hair star. Thick in the hips, come get in my car.
Hey, yo, I'm trying to tell you, these recruitment videos are getting a little bit too targeted.
You see them on TikTok, they're out of shape, they're asexual.
Got 20 years, have long tongues, and remember, they make the best sleeve.
What's that? Oh, no. No Gucci for me, please. I respect your celibacy.
What?
Where your clothes at?
See here, my mama raised a gentleman. Well, my father raised a slut wearing my pants at.
As a woman, you need to learn how to flip the script and make everything that man's fault. Even, it don't matter what you do.
You know what, as a man, y'all need to just start telling these what the fuck they want to hear. Just start telling these people what the fuck they want to hear. They ain't listening to you anyways. Go ahead and listen to what Fetty said. What'd he say? Let me get to them yams. Sweet, sweet yams. Show me the way. Cause I got bills to pay. You ain't gotta try too hard. Just keep scrolling about 50 times until you get to a post where we usually say something like, hold up, it's gonna love this, and just do the part before that. It'll work every time. Cause I tell you what, I can cook, I can clean, let me tell you how to swing this pan.
I have to make that a cut. I have to take that into the editing software, and I just need to make that into a voice alert. I gotta. And I also have to remember to upload that later. But anywho, I hope you enjoyed that. We're gonna be getting into content now. Starting with, why does Hollywood keep doing this? Because I want to explore, because I want to do it more, because I want to text door. Because we are your friends, the backyard again. And everybody knows how we getting on these toes, how we ducking on these blows. Alright. Are you ready? I'm not ready, but we should be ready. Also, if you want to join in the chat, you can just simply join in the chat. And when I say chat, I mean the VC. The voice chat is open today. We will be having fun vocally. Hello, Ebony. Early questions. Why would you wear an SS officer's or Soviet Japanese officer uniform for $1 million, but you have, or, oh no, you're asking me a question. Would I wear a uniform in public for money if it was one of the bad ones? Yes. I've already done this before. I thought you were going to ask me something hard. Anywho, let's get into it.
The Little Mermaid is white, not black.
Really, people? We're doing this again? Huh? She looks nothing like they both have the tail, huh? They both have the red. She looks nothing.
Oh, Lord. Already on the start. Rule 0. Ariel being cast with a minority. I don't even know if Chloe Bailey identifies as racially black, but I know she identifies as politically black. I need that symbol from here. Thank you. Thank you for that. So, starting off. Casting Ariel with a minority political black actress does not equal people criticizing it for making a choice to drum up drama and attention because they're racist. When Disney started remaking all of their classics from the 90s and making them into live action, the biggest problem that everybody had was that you're killing the soul of what made those films iconic. You're killing the soul of the animation, you're killing the soul of the performance of the voice actors, and thus doing ink suit acting, which is the same shit that has taken over video game performances, because instead of having mocap for the purpose of having mocap because you need the actors to be able to project their performance, it's instead being used as a lazy way to make the kind of games like God of War Ragnarok, so that you could justify having really bad progressive writing and giving people like Pro ZD money for being fucking hypocrites and political activists on the internet. All of that leads to here. Doing this with this. And of course, Little Mermaid's not the first one. It's just the most recent one. And in this case, this was the time that they finally decided to move with the angle of, let's make the person black. Because, oh, come on, it's time. Representation. And I could care less about your representation. I care more about your accuracy. And I care about the accuracy of the spirit of the story. The spirit of the story was not, hey, yo, fam, change them black because we need representation. It's, I need to be able to identify with this person. And I'm gotta tell you, if you're one of those people who can't be able to relate to something unless you racially see somebody who looks like you as the actor cast as a character, and that's the only way you're able to learn basic life lessons like the golden rule of how to treat others the way they wish to be treated, you're one of the people who need to go up against the wall. Unironically, you need to go up against the wall. There's something wrong with you. There's something wrong with you. And the people who do the shit just to try and claim what Noah, in this case, Noah Trevor, is claiming, they're people that did not care about the story. They just wanted something to use. We're gonna say the secret word as a cudgel.
Nothing like her. How do I even know that she's a mermaid? Once again, a bunch of internet racists are upset that a fictional character is being played by a black person. And honestly, I don't know what the big deal is.
Hello, darling. Welcome to another Wednesday deep dive. Today's actually quite a spontaneous video. I had a completely different video in mind.
I'm probably gonna speed this the fuck up. We got 4 of these things to get through.
For this week, but I've been seeing a lot of the discourse that's been happening around the new Little Mermaid film starring Halle Bailey. I have to actively think about her name because it sounds so similar to Halle Berry, and so my brain wants me to say Halle Bailey. Okay, I'm probably gonna mess it up at some point, but bear with me. So yeah, a lot of people have been talking about the new Little Mermaid film, and there's a lot of discussions on both sides. Some people are really upset about the fact that they've race swapped her. Some people are happy about the fact that they've race swapped her. I actually have some opinions on this particular topic of race swapping, and so I thought I would share my 2 cents on the subject. I do think that within the mainstream, it's lacking. The discussion is lacking a lot of nuance, and it seems like the summary of the takes that I've seen so far is very much race swapping good. If you disagree, bad, you bigot. And I have a lot of issues with this for a number of reasons. The main reason is because I think that the argument that everybody who disagrees with this race swap is a racist is incredibly lazy. Unfortunately, it seems like nowadays we're living in a time where people don't care to understand people with different views to their own. It seems like if someone disagrees with you, the quickest way to shut them up is to call them some kind of phobic or some kind of ism. Nuance seems to be dying on the internet, and it's very sad and it's very depressing because I think that this topic, I can understand both sides of it, and I think that the solution is actually very straightforward, and I don't think people need to be arguing about it in my personal opinion. So I'm going to share my observations as to why the 2 sides have the views that they have and how we can meet in the middle. Now, this side of the debate is a lot more complicated than I think people wish it was. People seem to really like to oversimplify it by simply saying, those who disagree with this are racist. And as I said before, I think this explanation is beyond lazy. And the reason for that is because, first of all, it's not just white people or non-black people who disagree with this race swapping that Hollywood keeps doing. There are also a lot of black people who are very frustrated and irritated by the fact that Hollywood keeps race swapping. So to just brand everyone who disagrees with this decision as racist and to assume that all of them are white is very ignorant in my opinion. Not only is this explanation lazy, but it also doesn't make a lot of sense, because if you truly believe the only reason why people would be upset with this race swap is because they're racist, and your idea is that people just don't want to see a black mermaid or don't want to support a black Disney film, then why is it that other Disney films that star non-white characters with non-white Western cultural themes within the plot have been massive successes? Why was Moana a success? Why was Encanto a success? Why was The Princess and the Frog a success? Why was Mulan a success? Why was The Emperor's New Groove films? Why were they a success? I could go on and on, because this is not the first time that Hollywood has made a non-white character be the lead. And not only have they made non-white characters be the lead, but they've also done stories that centered around non-white Western culture, and these were major successes. So how is that so if people are raging racists? The answer is, it's not so. People who dislike this race swap are not disliking it because they're racist, they're disliking it for a number of other reasons, and those are the reasons I'm going to discuss now. So the first explanation is that human beings are just very sentimental creatures. We build attachments to people, to things, and also to fictional characters. Women and girls, like females in general, tend to be the biggest people who do this. I mean, remember that whole Team Edward versus Team Jacob thing? I'm convinced that we lost our minds for a brief period of time during that Twilight era. But stuff like that just kind of shows you how much people build attachments to things, and so we don't really like it when people tamper with our favorite characters in any way. Oh my god, I've just remembered something. Do you remember when it was initially announced that Robert Pattinson would be playing the role of Edward Cullen? Twilight fans lost their minds. They were so angry because they didn't want him to play Edward. And the crazy thing is, he wasn't even being recast. They were just angry because he didn't match the image they had created in their heads of what Edward looked like from reading the books. So imagine that's how people react when a character hasn't even been cast or established yet in the real world, let alone when it already has. Even if you're not changing their race, any type of change can be a problem because people just simply don't like it when you tamper with characters. Examples of this I can think of is in the UK. There's this really popular TV show called EastEnders, and the EastEnders used to get into a lot of heat every single time they would recast characters because they did it fairly often. There's been so many characters that when I used to watch, I don't know how the show is now, but there were so many characters that they recast and people didn't like it. The people they were recast with looked very similar, they were the same race, whatever, but people just were not happy about it. Other examples from the US of this is when they recast Aunt Viv in The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, that didn't go over too well, or when they recast Claire in My Wife and Kids, that also didn't go over too well. People were not impressed when they changed Aunt Viv and when they changed Claire. People don't like it when you recast characters. Not only that, but people also don't like it when one of their favorite cast members leaves the show. So for example, I'm sure there's at least one show in your life that you really love, and then one of the characters was either recast or they left the show, and I'm positive that you weren't very impressed by it. So in general, because of how sentimental we are, when we fall in love with things, we want them to stay exactly as they were when we first fell in love with them, and so we don't like it when people start changing them or start tampering with them. Not only are we super sentimental and hate it when any of our favorite fictional characters are tampered with or changed in any way, but this feeling becomes magnified by 100 when you add in the extra component of nostalgia. For example, over here in the UK, Bob the Builder was really popular when I was a kid, and most of us grew up with Bob the Builder looking like this. Now in recent times, Bob's had a bit of a cheeky makeover, and so now Bob looks like this. And they were like 30-something-year-olds who were very upset.
Damn, that is fucking ugly.
Times, Bob's had a bit of a cheeky makeover, and so now Bob looks like this. Grew up with Bob the Builder looking like this. Now in recent times, Bob's had a bit of a cheeky makeover, and so now Bob looks like this.
That, no, bro, god damn. That is a fucking demon that you see at the middle of the goddamn night when you're waking up and looking for something. Holy fuck. Oh man, it's so bad. It's so bad. It's like taking fucking Doc McStuffin stuff and hoping that it would pass over because, guys, it looks the same, right? Oh god. Fuck me running. That's horrible.
And they were like 30-something-year-olds who were very upset by this and were just like, that's not my Bob. Still the same race, still the same Bob the Builder, but a different face. And people hated it because this is not the Bob the Builder that they grew up with. When you add in the extra component of nostalgia, it becomes a lot more messy because now you're messing with people's childhood memories. You're now messing with people's childhood. People grew up watching Ariel be a white girl with red hair. She's looked like that since 1989. She's older than me. This is the girl that they grew up with as kids. They probably had posters of her in their room. Their duvet covers and stuff was probably of her. Their pencil case, their lunchbox. Like all of these things of Ariel looking a certain way, and that's how they remember her. That's the childhood memory of Ariel that they have, was a white girl with red hair. And so not only are they going to be upset when you change her features, I can promise you right now, if they had recast Ariel as a blonde girl, people would have been just as upset. It's got nothing to do with the fact that the new Ariel was black. It's everything to do with the fact that the new Ariel doesn't look like the original. It doesn't matter how you would have changed her features. As long as she doesn't look like the original, people would have lost their minds, as I've just shown you with all these other examples of recasts that didn't go over too well, even if they were still within the same race. Because people don't like it when you change their favorite characters, especially if that's the character that they grew up with, and that's the character that they've known throughout their whole childhood. And if Ariel's looked like that since 1989, she's a lot of people's childhood. That's a lot of people you just pissed off with your decision to race swap. And the last component that I've noticed for why people dislike these race swaps is that I've noticed that as Hollywood strives to become more inclusive, they've decided that red-haired female characters are going to be their collateral damage. And what I mean by that...
That's true. I still don't, to this day, understand the concept behind the ginger to the swap. Also, you're gonna hear me drop my voice when I have to say these words, because, one, it's fun, and two, reasons. But yeah, the ginger to drop doesn't make sense to me, because the only explanation that I can come up with is that they culturally do not see the difference between having a character actress be presented by a redhead versus being presented by a black minority figure. And they believe that as a member of a minority, since this character is represented very, 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 very minimal, that it would serve and behoove the point of dialogue if said character and actress portraying them, or actor portraying them, just simply took the character and made them different. For no other reason because the showrunners or the casting agent decided to. It's really fucking stupid. It happens all the goddamn time. Pretty much the CW is notorious for this amongst many people, but it happens in cinema all the time now. I feel that it's a concerted effort. Before, maybe not. But it's definitely a concerted effort these days. And it's disgusting. So if it's fiction, therefore it doesn't matter, why is it important that she's black now? Because what I said earlier, representation. They're not doing it because we just happen to have the ability to find a good actress. I'm gonna name this. I'm gonna find a word to call this. I'm gonna call it the Idris Elba Heimdall effect. Right? When we usually think of a character or an actor being cast as a role, we would like to think that the reason why they were cast is because they were the best actor for the job. This was the case with Heimdall in the MCU being cast for Idris Elba. Same reason why he was also cast for Knuckles. He was probably the most compelling actor that they had that presented a performance for them to use with a casting call. And he was the best choice. Compare this to deciding the way that many showrunners decide. Like that, if you have been watching the AMC interview with the Vampire series that Jay and I have been doing on her channel, this is like the showrunner of that show deciding that they would have the character swap be that we were going to have a black man living in the historic Storyville red light district of Louisiana in the French Quarter, rather than having the original Brad Pitt Louis de Pointe-Noir that was a slave owner during 1810 times. Instead, they changed it to the 1910 times. And so, the change there was, well, we wanted to tell this version of the story because I believe there's something racially powerful there. We wanted to be able to, we wanted to explore that aspect of the character. We wanted to play with those concepts. That is the thing that they do there. In the case of Heimdall, Idris Elba's just a good actor. Who's to say that he would or wouldn't put up a good performance? Not really up to us to decide. But they decided we wouldn't get that choice. They would just do it for us. And so for Here, you have the same thing. When they chose to do things like the live action interpretations of these Disney 90s classics, they did so with the purpose of trying to prepare them and modernize them for a modern audience. So the reason why it's important that she be black now, if you were to ask them, is it's finally time for these minorities to get some representation. It's the same reason why Wakanda Forever is so dog shit. It's also the same reason why Disney put in so much effort to try and make those cultural websites that they were pushing about 6 months back. I'm trying to find the screen gaps that I had on Question, but I think they might have been on my last account. But they're the reason why they were pushing for those social cultural narrative sites. It is a place for them to basically consolidate the power of these people who would race bait. And for them, it is race baiting. They do it specifically to get your money. They do it specifically for your money. They do it specifically for your time. They do it specifically for your attention. They do it specifically because they know most people will eat it the fuck up like goddamn salmon. They know for a fact that people will do it. And that alone is enough to motivate them to continue doing it. Even if there are people that are begging them to not. Because it's ultimately money at the end of the day. If you get the black demographic to go out and consume the content, they will more than likely spend more money and thus be a better target to sell the product to. They'll usually accept the product in that form, in that way. And it will pay off dividends because, hey, you got the Negroes to come out and do the product, and basically they see you as free money anyways. You were going to watch it to begin with, but now you can watch it because it's a piece of cultural heritage, rather than just being an example of them wanting you to give them money for free, and other such reasons. That is ultimately the reason why it's important she be black. And of course, there's the tangential reason that just is there conventionally. Not so much that it's a focus, but it's just something they get to do, like I said before. If they accuse you of being racist, they get to use it as a cudgel to silence you. And so, when the film's shit, and people don't like it, and it bombs, or it doesn't perform as well as expected, which that's not really going to be as true as it might be, because remember, it's a Disney product. It will make money, but it won't make as much money as they would have wanted. Caveat. When it doesn't make as much money as they wanted, or it underperforms, or it doesn't meet the expectations that they had for it, they'll be able to turn around and say, oh, the reason why we didn't do well, the reason why it wasn't good, is because of the racists, the cry nerds, the misogyn nerds, the man babies. The reason we didn't make money and we weren't successful is because they tried to deplatform us, just the same as the devil was. That shit. That's the true final form reason for why they do it like that, and the reason why they are focused on that. And it's something that the media has always done for a very long time now. I'm gonna diss these. It's something that they've done for a very long time now. They don't care about whether or not it's good or accurate. They care about whether or not they can use a cudgel against you, and that's the only thing that really fucking matters. Using the cudgel and using sledgehammers as cudgels to basically shove a weapon into your hand and say, the reason you don't like Ariel is because she's black, and it's like, what? No. Imagine, I'll put it like this. Imagine that you were a white man. You're a white man married to a black wife. You have beautiful, lovely, interracial children. You have accepted her culture into yours, or she's accepted hers, or yours into her. And you're out with your black wife, holding your children. You're going to see a Little Mermaid with your daughters, and you're having an adult conversation between you and your wife, who she also had a love of Ariel as a child, because she saw a lot of herself in that character. And some person were to come along in public and say, hey, how'd you like that new Disney Little Mermaid? Yeah, it's finally time, hon. It's like, I don't know. It wasn't really my thing. What? Why wasn't your thing? White boy! And you start looking around like, hey, yo, wait, what? Like, what is you didn't like Ariel? Is it because you're a racist? And your wife cuts in by saying, I'm black and I didn't like it. Oh, listen to this, jigaboo! That shit. That thing. That scenario. And it sounds like that'd be cap and that'd be sus, but that's actually a thing that happens, and it is a thing that is true. It is a thing that is cappy, and it is a thing that is true. That happens all the time. Because unfortunately, this is the opinion of most white liberals. And they don't try hiding it either. They're very proud to say that they do this shit for free. Try to see if I can try to conserve this on half fucking prayer, but I don't feel like I can. Probably will be able to sneak in this kill. It'll be very difficult if I do get it. Or just do as much damage as I can. That's also an option. I don't have to kill him on this rotation. But it'll be very big if I do. But anyways, that's the reason why they do it. That's the reason why it's so important. For them, it's a talking point to say, listen, the reason why the blacks like this is because this is what we deserve. We deserve to get this. And if you won't let us have it, you're really just a racist Nazi bigot. And you deserve to suffer. And or your children are bad. Etc, etc, etc. Gotta make sure I'm out of danger before I teleport back. Let's continue.
Every time we have new black representation, we lose red-haired white women's representation. So, for example, with the new Tom Holland Spider-Man films, where the new Mary Jane is no longer a red-haired white woman, she is now played by Zendaya, and so she's now being portrayed as a black woman. We had the same situation with Annie. There are also some other comic book characters, some classic comic book characters who are redheads, who have now been replaced by black women. And so The Little Mermaid Ariel seems to be the new addition to this trend that Hollywood seems to be doing. So it seems as though as we black women get more representation, women with red hair seem to keep losing theirs. And I think that this is probably one of the biggest issues as well for some women who grew up on Ariel. Ariel was the only Disney princess with red hair. There was no other Disney princess with red hair when I was a kid. And so there were a lot of girls with red hair who looked up to Ariel because she was their only representation. She was their only Disney princess. And so, you know, for a lot of girls, Ariel's a very meaningful, impactful character to them because they were able to see themselves. Because the blondes have many to choose from. Okay, they grew up with Cinderella, Aurora, Rapunzel. You know, they weren't struggling for options of representation. Whereas the redheads, they only had Ariel, and now they've had to lose her. And it's kind of sad because if you're a woman with red hair, Ariel is the one Disney princess that looked like you as a kid, and now you have to sacrifice her. Otherwise, if you don't celebrate the fact that you've lost her, then you are now deemed as a racist. So they're essentially having to celebrate their own erasure in order to come across as open-minded and inclusive and progressive. And it's messed up. Imagine being put in a situation where you're...
Yeah, she just explained the thing that I just did with fewer words, but I explained the concept that most people would miss there.
forced to celebrate your own representation being erased in order for you to be deemed as being on the right side of history. Now, of course, I'm very empathetic to the people who are celebrating this race swap. I completely understand why they are. You know, growing up in the Western world, one of the things that comes with being a minority is that you are going to be represented less in the media. Of course, that is changing a lot now. There's far, far more representation than there ever has been. But the people who grew up loving these Disney princesses and never really seeing themselves represented, I think those feelings of exclusion still linger in some people. And so when they see themselves represented as maybe their favorite childhood Disney princess, they get really happy about it. And so that's why I think they're celebrating this and are excited about it. They want to see these classically white characters being portrayed as a character that looks like them. And I've also seen a lot of really cute videos online of young black girls reacting to the trailer and being really excited because Ariel looks like them. And I think that things like that kind of really show you why representation means so much to children and why representation is something that people actively are trying to encourage. So where exactly do we go from here? I think that the success that Disney has had when they have written non-white leads and also dabbled into non-white Western culture-centered plots for their movies, and the success that they've had with those stories and with those films, shows that Disney knows that they can create non-white leads and create non-white princesses and still be successful. So I don't quite know why they don't do it. It doesn't make any sense to me. Disney, if you can create all of these films, and you can also create TV shows like this, and those be successful, and movies like Black Panther, which featured 99.999% of the black cast and broke records for its success, there is no excuse anymore to not write original black Disney princesses. I have no idea why Disney continues to recycle and give us leftovers. Why do they keep doing this? I have no idea, and I think it's disappointing that we keep giving them credit for doing the bare minimum. To the black people who celebrate these race swaps, I really would like you to demand more from these filmmakers, because if they can use their creativity and be original when they write stories like Moana or write stories like Encanto, then why do you not demand the same for your own black representation? Why should we not also have original stories, just like other people get to have original stories, which is brilliant because I support that. Because all of the successes of these other films shows us that universally, everybody is happy to support a good Disney film, provided the story is original and good. So had they simply just created a new black princess and given her own original story, people would have been very supportive of it. But they chose not to do that. They just keep choosing to recycle already pre-existing characters just so they can do their performative pandering. And I think it's time for us to stop celebrating that. There's really no reason why we should be celebrating this. I think it's really annoying because I do agree that representation matters, and I think it is beautiful to see the reactions of young black girls seeing themselves represented as Disney princesses. And I think they should absolutely have that, but it should be done properly. And this isn't the way to do it properly. Leave the redheads alone, allow the redheads to keep their representation, and create new black Disney princesses. There are so many black mythologies and black folklore from African cultures or even Caribbean cultures that you could adapt into original Disney movies. But those stories will sit on the back burner and just completely rot away whilst you choose to race swap stories that no one asked you duty. And I think it's time that we stop celebrating it because it's not good enough. Representation is important, yes, but it should be done properly, and this is not doing it properly. Justice for the redheads, okay? Let them keep their representation. I really hope you enjoyed this little spontaneous rant. Don't allow Hollywood to keep baiting you into racial debates, because this really doesn't have to be about race. At the core of this issue, this is about Hollywood's laziness and their lack of innovation to create new classics, because that's what they should be doing. They should be creating new classics and not recycling old ones. And those are
Based, true. What is your opinion, Carl, of Lolicon? My opinion is they need to burn. Next question. Smart for you saying that you do this on double speed. I have mastered such autistic skills in the mask, and now background digest cringe at a reduced rate. Truly, the economical art in its finest. See, you get it. You get it. I don't know why more people criticize me for that. I don't know why. I know why Jay does. Jay hates it. Jay prefers to watch cringe at a normal pace. I ain't got time for that shit. I got multiples of these things to go at the same time. I want to get all of this shit done at once. These motherfuckers be talking. Said the man that likes to talk so goddamn much. But these niggas be talking. They just be talking and they ain't ever saying nothing. And at the same time, when they do have something to say, I want to get to that part faster. Because everything else leading up to it, we can rewind, we can rewatch. I can go backwards, fandangle, mingle. I can do a whole bunch of shit to be able to keep up on it. And the up and up is what I want to keep up on. Because that's where the best content lies. But anywho.
Those of you who have the argument that race swapping is fine and it's a fictional character, so who cares? I hope you keep that same energy if they decide to make Black Panther white, because something tells me you wouldn't be. We have to be fair, but that's all now. If I keep going, I won't stop talking. So thank you very much for enjoying this video. If you liked it, then do like and subscribe.
Based, true. Based and true. Based and true. So now, let's get into the cap. The cappiest cap. Himothy, him himself. Noah Samsen. Cringe of his name. The softest of the E-boys. This is gonna hurt. It's gonna hurt a lot, chat. Whole 26 minutes of some bullshit. Timestamp 57. 55.
Welcome back to the channel. Today's video is a response to a creator called Xina. Not sure if it's Gina or Xina. I haven't seen it pronounced anywhere, so I'm just gonna...
You have the power of using the internet to look things up, especially when it comes to pronunciations. There is no excuse for somebody to be so lazy as to try and make a joke, because this is the way that Noah makes videos. I'll let it play out in its entirety. But there's no reason why you wouldn't be able to just use a fucking lookup system to see how the person presents and how they announce and pronounce their name, whether it's historically on their channel, or it's something that you could be able to just look through reference to other people talking about it, or just run it through a fucking translation bot and figure out that it is a word and a phrase pronounced a particular way, even if that way doesn't seem intuitive to you. There is no reason to introduce a video like this. I would like you breadtubers to stop this. We know what you're doing. Everybody knows what you're doing, and you need to not do it anymore. It's time. It's time to stop. Also, knife's bolt activations there. Oh my god. Chain activations. Nope.
Call her Patience from here on out. Hope that's okay. The video is titled "Why Does Hollywood Keep Doing This?" and concerns the recent controversies surrounding the casting of the actress and singer Halle Bailey for the role of Ariel, a previously white red-headed mermaid character in Disney's upcoming live-action remake of their 1989 film The Little Mermaid. Before I get into the video, I'd like to go through a little disclaimer here if you guys don't mind. You
shouldn't need one, because it should be as simple as giving your opinion. No one can attack you for having an opinion. They can only attack you for being a fucking weasel about your opinion, which is what your disclaimer is about to be. Listen guys, I'm a white man criticizing a black woman, and I understand that in unusual circumstances we hang motherfuckers for less, but you need to understand, she's one of the bad ones. She has the wrong black diegetic opinions, and I have to be the one to remind her of her place as a victim. Because victims matter just as big as my porn stash. Look at it. Look at me. Look at it while looking at me. Look at me looking at you, looking at you, looking at me, looking at you, looking at me. I think you're at Anyway, let's continue.
Do mind, sorry, because I'm doing it anyway. So when it comes to political critique on YouTube, a good general rule is to only respond to creators that are larger than you. The reason being that their ideas are usually getting as much or more traction than yours and are therefore more worthy of response and debunking. It also limits the possibility of smaller channels being dogpiled by the larger channel's viewers. Patience has a smaller...
Incorrect. And also, notice how I just said the actual real opinion that he had to give? And now he's giving you the justification of, listen, the reason I'm criticizing her is because I know I'm a bigger channel than her. I don't want to dogpile her. But listen, her opinions are just so shit. Her opinions are just so shit, dude. Dude, what am I supposed to do, dude? Dude, bro, listen, bro, listen, bro, listen, bro. Her opinions are bad. That's why I need to dogpile her. I have to dogpile her. Her opinions must be mocked. I must attack her. I must attack her. Please understand me. I must attack her. Yams. The back-to-back activation. How do I even want to start this fucking debunk? I'm trying to keep eye on my prayer points and also say what I'm saying. No one should ever assume that criticism is harassment. Never ever should it be assumed that criticism is harassment. What do you drop? Law runes, okay. Normal drop means I don't care. No one should ever assume that criticism is harassment. Because, and I'll go to Witcher for this because that's where that clip lives. I said it once and I'll say it again and I'll always play this part because it's the reason I put it at the beginning of the Witcher video. Take it away, BASSFZz. Harassment isn't criticism. You need to open up a textbook or a notepad file and need to write down the following words. Do so with black and then red ink. Okay? It goes like this. Criticism isn't harassment, comma, switch to red, or switch back to black, large file type, italics, underline, 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 or incitement. Criticism isn't harassment or incitement. Reason why criticism isn't harassment or incitement is that when you say, the reason why I'm criticizing someone you say, the reason why I'm criticizing this person isn't because I want to dogpile them, and I thought that I'd be able to give my opinion and then get away from giving my opinion. But instead you say, listen, your opinion is really bad, and even though I disagree with you, that doesn't mean people have the right to try and dogpile you and simply attack you for things that you aren't guilty for. You might have an opinion I disagree with, but at the end of the day, I can disagree with you and still respect you as a normal human being. The reason why we have to give that opinion would be because there are people who do not know how to give that opinion. And the majority of the people who do not know how to give that opinion isn't people like myself. It's people like Samsen. The reason it's people like Samsen is because Samsen has come very comfortable and very, 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 very known for doing shit like this. And it's the thing that drives... I see that. I'll read in a second. And it's the thing that makes us remember the reason why you always have to claim you're doing something is because you're doing it for the good and just of everyone. And it's just not. The better case example of this is when Clone Vosh tried this with me. Because if you remember, Clone Vosh number 6667. Christopher is his name, but around here, we call him Liquid Carl. Around here, Liquid Carl, Christopher. I'm not saying his username, because he's not getting clout off of me any more than the dumb shit he's already done. Remember, I can remain petty longer than you can remain relevant. Users like that, and him, and this, are people who often do things for moderate forms of attention. And when they choose to do things for moderate forms of attention, what we end up finding and seeing happen is time and time again, they attack a particular person for an opinion, and they try to go super fucking hard about attacking them for said opinion. And instead of giving just a normal criticism and saying, listen, you might think that I'm bullying you, but I'm just disagreeing with you. It's unfortunate that it happens to be that I'm larger and you're smaller, but we'll have our opinions and we can give our criticisms and we can have a tete-a-tete, back and forth and back and forth. This is a normal thing that happens with any kind of content creator. Only in the modern era, with this version of YouTube, not the YouTube of yesteryear, where we had reply guys everywhere, but in this era of YouTube, where clout and size are one and the same, and people fish for both by trying to attack people that they think either have opinions that they can be able to criticize and get away with, or people that they believe that they can be able to dogpile and just be one of the many people browsing in the crowd, because good, come on, everybody was doing it. But they are also the same people that would say, no, that's the most horrible thing you could do. But they were more than happy to do it when they thought they could do it just without ever having to deal with the consequences of that, which is, hey, I dogpile a person, I call them out of their name, I call them, let's say, the worst name that I could say to them. Let's just use the example from what happened before at the last versus chat concerning the losers that thought they could, just call me slurs randomly just because they felt like it. This is from when you have a bunch of people. I just have to use this from here because I want to use the, there it is. When I want to use the faulty revisionisms. When you are a group of people who want to try to get away with doing some of the most unhinged, racist things a person could ever type and justify it. In this case, when you want to hate raid somebody, you can't see it very well here, but it's there. Also, oh my lord, thank you very much. When you want to be the kind of people who want to racistly slander someone, but you don't have the balls to actually man up and say the whole word, you instead get your group of people to work together with you. Because you figure, hey, there's strength in harassing in numbers. And then you are the same people who will then try to do an interview with those people. To try and get even more clout. To basically put your fingerprint on the handiwork. And claim, listen, the reason why it happened to you is because you deserved it. Right? You deserved it. You deserve it. You deserve that I should slander and attack you and personally accuse you of your name. Because you believe that you will be able to hide. That you'll be able to hide. And lie. Hide and lie. And then you admit that you are guilty of the thing you're doing. And then when you get caught, you start saying, no, that's not the reason, that's not the reason. When you're one of these kinds of fucking losers that do this shit on a regular basis, because it happens every week, I just don't talk about them all the time. When you're the kind of person, like Noah Samsen, or like those people there in the screenshot, the thing that becomes normal is that you want to make content for free, right? The easiest kind of content that a content creator like us, and I don't like that word, but it's the word I have to use in this frame. When you want to be a person that wants to try and get in on some drama, some free, easy, clean drama, and you don't want to put in too much effort, you don't want to put in too much work, because work is hard. The easiest way to do it is to basically say, listen, I, Noah Samsen, with 305 subs, 305k subs, want to criticize Patient Xina with 82.3 subs. And the reason I want to accuse them of the things I'm going to say here, where I'm going to get really unhinged and make just some liberal accusations, is because I don't personally hate them, but I think they have shitty ideas. And I should be allowed to criticize shitty ideas. Pay no mind to the scythe and the whip and the chain and the ball and the morning star there in my hand. This isn't a mob. See, I'm just criticizing you. If you have a bad opinion and a bad reaction to it, you're just upset. You're just mad. You're just upset and mad. Look at how mad you are. I'm not murdering you. Even as we're murdering you, I'm just criticizing your bad ideas. Because they're bad. Why are they bad? Because racism. Because listen, this racism is good racism. Don't you want to win? Don't you be on the winning side, baby? Just take my hand. Can't you, pawn, just take this white liberal's hand? Bum 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 bum. When we get there, when you get to that level of content creation, you just get lazy, okay? You get lazy, like Signifier gets lazy. You just want to say, listen, the reason why it's bad is because racism. You don't even know any other questions. Now listen to all these people that I put together on this panel to repeat my opinion. All that, cap. You don't want to hear her opinion. You want to stamp her opinion out in the mud because you believe she shouldn't be allowed to say these things. How dare she think for herself? She's not allowed to do that. That's the thing that Samsen can't say with his mouth. So instead, what he has to say is, listen, dogpiling is really bad, except when I do it. Now watch this drive! Anywho, let me read those super chats. Also, thank you for your super chats. Gosh, can we admit that people like this are the new plantation class, high and uptight while carrying, oh my god, Thomas! You're wild! While carrying a plantation class, high and uptight whilst carrying superiority complex denser than osmium. Thus the ecosystem of bread tube, human yeast that eats itself in an ever-purifying spiral in order to reach a more toxic potency byproduct. At least this Vosh clone is willing to go after those that have fewer subs in them, rather than trying to puke burp to get bigger channels' attentions. That is correct. That is correct! Because Clone Carl is the kind of loser that tries to shit on people smaller than him. Me. He tried to shit on me. Because they know that they can't always bully people who are smaller than them unless they can try to problematize them. This is the reason why he made this video. He's trying to problematize patient Xina. He doesn't know how he's gonna do it, but by George, he's gonna reach. He's gonna reach on his tippy toes, and he's gonna find a way. Because when money's involved, cringe finds a way. Cringe finds a way.
Channel compared to mine. She's currently sitting around 70,000 subscribers at the time of writing. However, the reason I've decided against applying this rule here is because I don't think that will be the case for long. For one thing, her videos are consistently overperforming relative to her subscriber count. The video we're looking at
I again repeat, the reason why we're criticizing her is because I disagree with her opinions, and normally it'd be wrong for me to be able to criticize her because you see, I'm bigger, and big bank takes little bank, but I believe she's going to become bigger over time. Therefore, I won't be called an evil, misogynistic, hate-rating bastard because you see, she'll be bigger, and then it will be fine, and then I'll be able to say all the unhinged shit that I'm about to say, and I will never have to feel the backlash that would happen because people would actively call me on my shit, and I don't think that'll happen here because you guys wouldn't attack me for doing this because I'm doing what you want. I'm one of the good ones.
Today has almost 800,000 views, so the ideas presented here are getting traction. Mainly though, just a few weeks ago, she posted her 10,000 subscribed Q&A, and again, she's currently at 70. If she continues on this growth path, which I believe she will, she'll be a very large channel relatively soon. So before that happens, I'd like to take the opportunity to do what I hope will be understood as levying a good faith critique of her work, because the larger one gets on YouTube, generally speaking, the less willing they are to engage with criticism.
Because that's what we do when you have a good faith critique. You say, listen, this is going to be a good faith critique, instead of just giving a good faith critique. Because, you know, you gotta tell people that it's not shit, even though you are squatting over their plate. Great idea. Good plan. Good plan, Noah. This is a wonderful strategy. Let's see how you fuck it up.
Patience wrote a post on her community tab a few days ago. It reads, "The random comments calling me far right are hilarious. This is why you should avoid echo chambers, folks. They'll make you angry and kooky." So clearly, Patience is no fan of echo chambers. She has no patience for them. Sorry. If that is the case, I'd like to think that criticism...
Aha, see, I made a joke there. She doesn't like echo chambers because, you see, we, as a group, actively did the thing we always do, which is, in our room with bisexual lighting, assert on Twitter that a person is a thing. So then, when I make my video in the echo chamber of my editing software suite, I can simply just leave out the part where I'm involved in it and simply just point out the criticisms that they're making while not supplying the evidence of the people who are actively calling me said thing. Because I have a feeling. Let's see, that's just that. That's an unfortunate name. Let's see. If I do patient Xina. There we are. So it seems all the posts were posted on November 15th. Because here's one of the first ones. Also, yes, this is how I'm able to find the majority of these things. I'm glad you noticed. God damn it. Hold on. I don't want my character to die, but then again, I'm already intolerant, so I should be okay here. I can leave the Laurens. Let's see here. November 15th. Patient Xina. And let's just scroll. What video is this? This video isn't available anymore. I make music and I talk. Link to her channel. Tweets and replies. Here we go. Post from Michael Henry. YouTube creator. Boop, 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 boop. Yeah, you can see this on the screen. This is good. Hello, Jake. Welcome back, Bobenreath. How you doing? Let's see here. I wanted to see if she had any of this on her page, but she's smart. She just has a channel, and that's it. She just has her channel here and features it. She doesn't feature the people who have been calling her far right. But I am nosy, and I'm gonna go look. I am going to go look, and we're gonna find out. But it was already there. True. True. 5 here. Patience. Or right. Twitter. This is unfortunate that because of Xena Warrior Princess, it's actually making it difficult to track these down. But I suppose I should just look through Noah Samsen's shit. That'll probably be easier. Noah Samsen. Patience. Sad irony of a liberal unknowingly being blatantly dismissive and casually racist because a black person chose to exercise their right to individualism. Liberalism has almost realized its final form, and yes, I'm talking to you, Noah Samsen. A bunch of fucking links that have the name in them from Chinese bots. I'm screaming, Noah Samsen lined that caution, words are hard. Here we go. Here we go. Here we go. Oh, here we go. Here we go. Here we go. Here we go. Here we go again. Is weakness racism. All right, Noah Samsen. I'm screaming. Noah Samsen whined that Vosh called Kat Black a genocide supporter and whined that she was brigaded by people pissed at her when he just did the same thing to Patience. He called her a Nazi and his supporters are trying to drag her. Is everybody on the left a hypocrite? I think the issue is more that there are a lot of bad people in YouTube politics that just so happen to have not been conservatives, although most of them are grifters. Some of them are grifters. That goes a long way into explaining these people. I'm starting to believe less and less of the idea that bad people on the left are all bad actors and more that they're representative of some of the actual left's real positioning. That could be the case, which is disappointing, but in that case, we just need to push those people out. People like Flowers won't change likely because their income is tied to their beliefs. This is true. But the problem is that it's less about that, and it's more about the fact that people have viewpoints that are representative of a position that is dialogical with how they choose to interact with the internet. That is to say, Noah Samsen's money is not directly linked so much to his politics as it is linked to his position of being an asshole. I'm going to order some food real fast. Because his position is tied more to being a jackass than it is to being an asshole, I'll rephrase that for you, because that sounds different. Because Noah Samsen's position is tied to trying to be an e-boy on the internet who's highly visible, doing dramatic shit for attention, rather than having his money tied to making better products. Pop shield, please. Pop shield, please. Pop shield, please. That'll have to do. Because his opinion is tied to that, rather than being tied to making products of value that are important and that have a purpose and are desirable as good work. Not, I said something and I want you to support me, because if you don't support me, you're not being a good leftist. People like him are the reason people like me end up becoming popular. Because you spend so much time trying to deplatform other people's opinions that when you now have to answer, hey, he is, Carl in Patience has a point. Why did you try to deplatform them? Why did you try to silence their opinion? Why did you do all those things? The only answer they can come back to is, well, see, their opinions were bad and mine are right. But that's not good enough because it'll never be good enough. Who cares if their opinion is supposedly wrong or bad by your definition? You're not the moral arbiter of justice. And there, once we get to points like here, when people on Twitter, the people who basically represent your viewpoint, are criticizing you for being that kind of hypocritical asshole, what you end up getting is that, well, see, all of the talking points that we normally do, I expected us to be able to do this, and I didn't think that it wouldn't work. But hey, because remember, at the same time, because Noah Samsen's in here, and patience is a common word, you can see how this from November 15th compares against this from August 21st. Also, let me know if you can't see this in the chat. I'll try to make this bigger for you here on the window. In fact, let me try to stretch it out now. Let me try to stretch it out. There we go. This might be better. I might even drop it into the other frame. Hold on. Timeline crop, go. Is this slightly better for you all? Is good, good. When you have conflicting posts that basically on 1 month, here in August 21st, a person randomly tweeting out to themselves, Lord, give me the patience that Noah Samsen has when dismantling Sneako's misogynistic manosphere bullshit. Because remember, Sneako and Andrew Tate was a thing 2 months back when they decided they were the horrible thing ever. And now you have posts like this. This shows you the actual opinion that comes from this left-wing position. Whether or not this person is a quote-unquote libtard shouldn't matter. Granted, they are followed by chud logic and counterpoints, so I'm more lenient to think that they might have a finger on the pulse of the problem. These two kinds of things can show you how quickly shit can turn. Let's keep scrolling. Let's see if we can find more. Dev making opinions. Somebody asking Dev if they're gonna make opinions on breadtubers. I just finished watching Noah Samsen video on Patient Xina where he took her out of context, strawmanned her, labeled as a Nazi. Here is the link responding. Actually, let me see if Dev is available. Let me see if Dev is available. Ugh, my nose. Anyways, back to this. Hey, are you gonna make any videos? RedTubers finished watching Noah Samsen video on Patient Xina where he took out of context. Someone give Noah Samsen a hug. I don't know how he has so much patience for these response videos. How would the Noah Samsen debate lower someone's opinions of Vosh? Oh, Vosh handled the dude with patience of a saint. Hard to see Hassan being such a bitch boy. These things are, of course, from different months, so I'm gonna sort by latest. And unfortunately, I think this is the most latest I can get here because Noah Samsen's Noah Samsen, and we're gonna have to directly just go to his fucking timeline for this shit. I'm scared to keep scrolling downwards. I just became instantly scared of scrolling downwards because I started seeing a bunch of Chinese characters and I'm like, oh no, this is how the porn starts. This is how the porn starts. I'm so happy I chose to take that off the screen. Oh my god. Why are these posts here on... Why is this on Twitter? Why? Anywho. Samson's account was banned. That's why I can't find it. Good. Leftists are getting banned on Twitter. This is lovely. This is nice. I love this. I love this. I love this a lot. Oh, that's delicious. That's delicious. That is delicious. That is a delicious frame. Put that on the screen, baby. That's delicious. Ooh. Yes, it was like this really weird roundabout Twitter ad porn that gets posted by Chinese bots. It's like back shots of women doing yoga stretching, but it's specifically framed with their butts. Yeah, I don't want that on my screen. But this right here, I love this. Give me more of these. I love this. I love this song. I love it. Anyway, let's continue. Back to the cringe. Back to the cringe. If I remember what I was about to write down there in number 1, I will be able to remind myself. I mean, they have been getting clapped. Man, it's so great when we're sowing, but not so great when we're reaping for some reason. I wonder why that might be. I wonder, Noah. I wonder if this is a sign. I wonder if it's a sign, Noah. Could it be a sign, Noah? Could we maybe have probably oversold our hand? Maybe just a little bit. Possibly. Just a little bit of stupidity.
Should be welcome, but I suppose we will see. Regardless, I hope it goes without saying that if you're going to engage with her in any way, only do so if you're going to be constructive. Thank you. All right, that's enough of my deranged ramblings. Let's get into the video. I've left Patience's video linked.
Also, I remember I was going to write down now. Weak sauce denials. of brigading doesn't justify slander and libel on their reputation, even if you think they are literally insult. Period. This is the same opinion that I said in the Noah video that I made before. Technically Noah live stream that I made before. And it was an opinion that was spawned from Noah trying to lie about Vosh, and then trying to do it as a roundabout way to criticize other people like Vosh, and also a position that exists to apply to people like Clone Vosh. Just because people don't know somebody doesn't justify you to deplatform them. And also, just because you don't like somebody doesn't justify you to call them all the negative, nasty things that you usually call everybody that you disagree with politically. Just because you don't like the fact that they're right, or you don't like the fact that their opinion might come from a level of particular energy that you dislike, but that you get the right to claim is the same as being something that it is not. You do not get to make those choices. You do not get to make that accusation. You do not get to deplatform people. You do not get to lie. You do not get to antagonize. You do not get to deplatform. You do not get to misalign, misconstrue, misrepresent. Nothing. Just because you don't like someone. Can you be uncharitable to them? Can you make jokes at their expense? Yes, you can. It's some of the best form of witty, snarky comebacks. But you also should be original in how you do it. You shouldn't say the same tired fucking jokes, the same tired fucking bullshit. A good example of this is what they did to Sargon of Akkad. The Sargoys being a waiter at Applebee's was a really funny meme for like a week. And then it started becoming boring. Because, hey, number one, British Carl has now a business. What are you gonna do? British Carl's taking his employees to Applebee's. He ain't got a coupon no more. Because y'all niggas are using him. Yep, because they're using him. I keep forgetting that I'm on YouTube. I can just say niggas. But I keep doing the thing because I've been making TikToks all day. You just keep using him as a cudgel while you use Podcast of the Lotus Eaters to try and push back against viewpoints because you know they have a popular channel. So you use them for attention, and then you say, listen, I mean, they have bad opinions, but I really need the clout. Ain't that right, Kevels? Ain't that right, Clara Sarenti? Ain't that right? Aren't you one of those people? Ain't you that guy? Excuse me, that lady wouldn't want to misgender somebody. Just be a man about it. That's my opinion. That's my position. Be a man about it. If you're willing to do the dirt and you're gonna antagonize someone, especially if you're antagonizing them because you know they did some shit and you have proof to show it, like I do. If you know somebody's on that bullshit, don't be a pussy. Say it with your chest. Because if you're willing to make the content to antagonize them, you have to be willing to take the accountability that comes with doing the antagonizing. Otherwise, you're just being a coward. You're just being a coward, and you don't get the right to ever say anything else about anyone. Because if you're not willing to live your standards, you don't even get the right to say shit. Period. That's on God. That's on squad. That's on pod. Accurate. I'm just talking to Aiden in the background. Alright. See if I missed anything in the chat. Aiden, baby, you made it. How you doing? How you doing, sweetie? How's the flight? Carl, did you see Vanderhoff go off on Schoenhead on Twitter? I did not, because she has me blocked. Because I know you like her. I don't. But she has me blocked along with many of my mutuals because she got fucking upset that she was criticized. She's still mad at me for making fun of her for becoming a why not. And also making jokes about her eggs. Yeah. That's still a tender spot for her. I at this point, I don't even do it because I dislike her so much as it is. I want to see if she's going to be more of an adult and not be a little baby and just simply stop reacting to everybody poking at her. But who knows? That advice would be good for me to take sometimes too. But she is a bigger content creator. She should know better. And she should learn to stop letting it get to her. But, you know, I'm a dick. I take it. I take it. I take it. And yes, for real, on God. On God, I swear people be pussies. On God, I swear motherfuckers like Noah. Over here, Carl. There you go. On God, I swear niggas like Noah just be pussies. They really want to do the best thing they want to do, but they can't commit to the bit. Because if they commit to the bit, they get banned. And so, instead, they try to do a roundabout bit. It's like watching a current SNL Weekend Update. Josh Nolan is just trying to make some jokes that could possibly get him a time slot filled on a major network so he can become a fucking show host. Michael Shea literally just writes shit to try and end his fucking career because they just want to do the best thing possible that's funny, which is why they got angry that Dave Chappelle hosted, I think it was last week. And the entire setup of most of their jokes was, hey, listen, Dave Chappelle's here. You're in danger. But hey, liberals, am I right? Well, let me double check the chat. What's the deal with all the Chinese stuff? Ever since Elon bought Twitter, I'm kind of losing my voice because I had a very hard week of work. I had to do a lot of yelling for a lot of things in my store. Twitter bots that are reposting content will post a bunch of Chinese shit specifically to try and get browser interest. And it's just one of the many body things that need to happen for them to be able to have traction with some shit. It's like clickbait stuff. She did block ER. She did. Because she's not based. She is unbased. She is unmarinated in the sauce. She does not know the taste of Cajun spice. She doesn't get to have my Cajun sparkle. Not allowed. Now, I don't blame them for blocking ER because it's not even that he's not even racist. It's that she doesn't like his edginess. That's really the answer. I love it. I don't care. I'm Carl. But there are people who will probably be upset because the audience around ER, not ER himself, the audience around ER will be hyper-focused on being antagonistic because they are just as guilty as the shit that Noah's guilty of. Both sides do this. Even apolitical posters do this. Maybe not the content creator themselves, but there are particular people inside of circles where they will use the opinion of the creator as a justification for why they personally get to say some really unhinged shit. And then they have to walk it back because then the content creator tells them, listen, if you do shit like this, cross-platform ban from all of my things and audience. They basically take the Destiny position, and they ban them from everything, which I think is the correct position. Because if you would never do it yourself, you shouldn't tolerate people in your audience doing it, especially if they go way too fucking far. And they use it as justification to say, well, you had opinions about this, and it's like, yeah, I said she was a bitch. I didn't say she deserves to have her children burned in a fire. You're fucking sociopathic. That's where the hard cut should happen. Especially if people are trying to use you as a justification for why they should say something like that, and then if you criticize them, they say, well, I thought you were cool. And it's like, yeah, and I thought you were a normal person. Get out of my audience. You sent it to me in the DMs? You said it going down in the DMs? Vanderhall. Shonehead on her way once again to use her massive platform to provide the neo-Nazis in her audience with fodder they can use to justify the murder of gay people, but this time the day after another anti-gay terror attack. Alexander, what the fuck is wrong with you? You cannot live up to your namesake doing shit like this. You are not a hero to men. What is wrong with you, Pig Puncher? Pig Puncher, stop it! Stop! Oh, shit! That's not even a hot take. That's nuclear. That's a flavor out of Wing Bar, bro. Dial it back like 15 notches. Stop it. Stop. Stop it. This is unacceptable. You're doing it again. And of course he got blocked for that, but okay. Oh. Let's look at this tweet incognito. Oh, Lord. Let's see here. If I look here, you're unable to see tweets from this person. Copy. Post, paste. Because Shu has responses in here with people. Here we go. Shu responded, very cool, Zan. It's true, though. I mean, Shu, many people have said this about you for a long time. You know you're impulsive. You immediately posted that. You had people like Meredith correct you and add context on the images and get angry. Block, 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 block. I'm looking at my Shinigami Eyes app that shows me when people have been cross-blocked by Shu and Head, and she just blocked a bunch of these people. She might have even used a nuking bot to do this. This was on November 21st. That was today. Let's see here, Shu. Are you unhinged? Are you typing things about this at this exact moment right now? Let's see here. One second. Because Shu's tweeting a bunch of shit about Balenciaga. Also, thank you again for another $2, Thomas. And yes, he's calling her a terrorist over a fucking tweet. No, I'm saying he's unhinged because why is he doing this shit when I know he's doing it for attention? They're both being dumb right now. But Xander Hall is being fucking stupid. You're calling her a terrorist over a tweet and blocking you for a tweet. That's fucking stupid. That's fucking stupid. June can be emotional. Yes, this is true. However, no. Fucking no. No, Xander Hall. No. The fact that this is directly after you had a bunch of people on your side because of DJ Mule being unhinged and effectively trying to use your toxic relationship, in my opinion, from my viewpoint at least, your toxic relationship with your ex-girlfriend basically using you for money and stealing money out of your pocket. Bro, I don't want to tell you. Yeah, Aiden's right. I don't want to tell you. Tweets of violence. Every single time my dumbass face go out there on Twitter and I just have that post of me just doing this is violence right here. This is genocide. Listen guys, you need to understand. Hold on. You need to understand, guys. This right here, this is violence. Every single time I look at you like this and I laugh at you for being stupid on the internet, I'm calling you the worst slur possible. And you'll never be able to stop me. Because the word never left my mouth. You won't stop me. Anywho. That's good shit. That's that good shit right there. Being genocided right now. Sometimes the memes are you, and sometimes you're the meme, and sometimes you become the meme while being the meme, while all the meme, while you are the meme, while you at the meme, cause memes. Oh, Xander Hall, you need to stop being. You gotta stop being a fucking lapdog for the left, dude. You gotta stop it. I understand. You're one of those guys that got saved way back when Dr. Rammerkan made his video about you making your leap from going from being a guy who was sucked into the alt-right pipeline to being somebody who's up there selling a narrative that says, listen, everybody I don't like is a Nazi. I don't know what to tell you. Now help me fucking murder their lives right now. Otherwise you're next. I understand. I get it, kid. I get it. But you can do better than this. I believe in you. I believe you can do better than this. I would like to see you succeed. But not like this. Not like this. Now, back to Noah's dumbass.
The description. I would encourage you to go watch it before you watch this so you can be sure I'm not misrepresenting her arguments. If you're short on time, though, I'll try my best to include all the relevant clips. So in this video, Patience raises a number of points in support of her main...
I do my best to include all the relevant clips. And to his credit, he does have the links 2, no one actually cares about race swapping in trash Disney remakes. This is from Virtus Joe. And this is from Big Joel, which I'm not shocked. I'm honestly not shocked you're promoting these two. But hey, it is what it is. We'll put this on the back burner, because Lord knows that Cuck Joey has more fucking shit to say that I don't care for. But we'll put it on the back burner. That'll be next week if I care about it. I probably won't. Also, that's a lie. People do care about race swapping. People care about race swapping because race swaps are the thing that make you upset. They're the thing that tug on a heartstring, and they're a thing that is tied, like I said earlier, they're tied to your childhood. They're tied to your childhood, they're tied to your nostalgia, and they're the things that make you upset. Let me give you a perfect case example, because I literally learned this today, right? Remember, I'm forgetting the name of the Batman actor. The Batman voice actor that just died. And for some reason, apparently, Jason David Frank, probably better known as Tommy J. Oliver, character actor, Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, he died recently too. He died at the age of 49. The way I had to discover it, bro, the same way I discovered it with Kevin Conroy. There it is. Thank you, Brain. The way that I discovered both Kevin Conroy and JDF is that I find them as fucking doing this fucking shit, this Wakanda Forever shit, to the sound of the Dragon Dagger. It's fucking wild. When people talk about nostalgic things, like, say, for Americans with Tokusatsu, Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, if you were to have done the kind of race swap that they are doing here with Disney, with that Power Rangers 2017 reboot film that starred, what is his name? Something Montgomery. The brother character from Stranger Things that dies in season 3. Forgetting the goddamn actor's name, but it's that guy, and then a bunch of other people. If they had done that kind, well, actually, technically, they did do that race swap. They did cast a black, Blue Ranger. But if they had done the kind of, because multiverse theory is in effect here. If they had done that kind of cameo and that kind of race swap, and they were egregious about saying, listen, if you don't like the fact that this Billy is black and autistic, you just don't like black people, you hate minorities, you're also a racist that believes in genocide and eugenics, because you believe that autists should be dead, you deserve all this shit. If they had done that, I can promise you, me and my friends wouldn't have gone to go see that film. We didn't go see that film because, hey, yo, fam, they cast Billy as black, and they cast the Becky G singer as Trini, because, you know, the first one was Cantonese, and this one is now Hispanic. It's time! It's time! It's finally time! And also, the black guy as the Black Ranger, we casted him with an Asian, because we needed Ludi Lin. We just needed Ludi Lin in something. If we had done that, I can promise you, people would have came out of that film and said, yo, I don't know what the fuck Haim Saban doing over at fucking Saban Court, but I'm gonna need you to not do what you're doing. It would have been the same shit. Same shit. We have this all the time, in fact, when it comes to adaptations and things like Tokusatsu. And same thing with video games. Same thing if you well, actually, no, not the same thing. At least in the case of voice actresses with fucking Bayonetta 3. That's an entirely separate issue. But, let's say if I could bring the voice actors that are dead, that were involved in the product of The Legacy of Kain. If I could bring Tony J back from the dead as the voice of the Elder God, and I could bring back Simon Templeton, and I think his name is Mark Bell. Mark Bell, Simon Templeton? I think I have that the right way around. Yes. If I could bring back Simon Templeton and Michael something. If I could bring back Simon Templeton, Michael Bell, Tony J, and a bunch of other voice actors as the character actors for a new, modernized retelling in the same style that they're doing right now with God of War and Ragnarok for Legacy of Kain, and it was written by Amy Hennig, and maybe have a little bit of help from people who were former members of Looking Grass Entertainment, and I was to bring them back to do the work, But I decided that instead of having those three, I brought in the new Twitter, TikTok, and YouTube era voice actors to replace them. You know, like ProZD. If I was to bring them in to do those iconic roles and characters, and you said, "Hey, yo, there's some questions. I got some problems here, bro. Like, I don't think this is good." And Noah Samsen and Virtus Joe and a bunch of people came around and said, "Bro, you don't actually care about this race swap. Who do you care if they're the original voices?" You would have people throwing a fucking fit. Because I said this the same way that I did when I was analyzing the Bayonetta 3 bullshit. As far as it goes with Helena Taylor, yes, she probably destroyed her own voice acting career because she was greedy for money. However, the same thing that happened there with Bayonetta 3 would have been the same scenario if they had done something like that when it came to Devil May Cry. Because if Ruben Langdon, if Johnny Young Bosch, and if Dan Southworth, the voices of Dante, Nero, and Virgil, had came out and had something similar happen to them, if they had tried to fuck them on some shit, because they did try to fuck JDF back when they were attacking, Monona, but if they had done the same shit to them, and they sat down in a room and said, "Listen, they're fucking us. Like, here's the truth. They fucking us. We would like you to donate money, because, like, they replaced us with new actors. It's not going to be the same voice acting. We're out of the projects. I don't know what to tell y'all. We're going to go do fun shit now. I gotta go star in a Japanese product along with Yoshi P over here in Tokuland. Bye." If they had did some shit like that, people would have been fucking screaming bloody murder. The fact that it even went to the point of them saying, "Oh no, you see, actually, the replacement voice actress, Jennifer Hale, she's just a money-grubbing fucking scumbag." And you would be so stupid and remiss to not know how important she was for the pro-union voice actor talks, that she was holding them in her own fucking home? To be one of those unhinged losers who knew nothing about voice acting, who knew nothing about the voice acting scene, knows nothing about the fucking talent, knows nothing about the fucking inner circle, knows nothing about how quickly word gets out. I can forgive all the people who didn't wait for information. I can't forgive the people who decided after all the information was dropped, said, "Listen, you deserve to give Tommy an apology because this was unhinged. You guys were losers." No. The shit shouldn't have happened in the first place. You should have paid Helena Taylor the money she earned, because she is the reason that game got sequels. Her voice acting performance is the reason why Bayonetta wasn't a throwaway title left abandoned on the Wii U and on the Wii. She is the reason that was possible. You guys using that and effectively backdooring in the same bullshit that you have in all of these games now, made from companies like Sony in particular and Naughty Dog, and it's now creeping into third-party developers like Platinum Games and getting put onto consoles that are supposed to be at least customer-friendly in the form of a Nintendo. You don't need my money. I don't think you need my money. I don't think you need my attention. I don't think you need my support. But you know. Also, thank you for another $2. Kevin Conroy, thank you. Recipe, Kevin. Okay, retraction. I wouldn't have blocked him. I would have asked him, "Why are you calling me a terrorist?" over a tweet. I mean, I would have just mocked him. I would have just Carl posted at him. I probably would have just pointed and laughed at him at the screen. I would have done something, make sure I'm centered in the screen. I would have done something that's like just look at him and then just do this while my theme song plays in the background. Just like, you know, something like that. Because I can't take people like Noah seriously. They don't know how to have fun on the internet anymore. I don't know. I've spent a lot of time here ranting about this. Let's get back to the video.
Thesis that the backlash over Halle Bailey's casting as Ariel in the live-action Little Mermaid is, for the most part, justified. It's not motivated by racism, but by a number of valid reasons, which she goes on to outline.
This side of the debate is a lot more complicated than I think people wish it was. People seem to really like to oversimplify it by simply saying, those who disagree with this are racist. And as I said before, I think this explanation is beyond lazy. People who dislike this race swap are not disliking it because they're racist, they're disliking it for a number of other reasons, and those are the reasons I'm going to discuss now.
Her conclusion, which is framed as a compromise of sorts, is that we need more standalone non-white stories instead of recasting white roles with non-white actors.
So had they simply just...
That is true. In Noah Land, the idea there is that, hey, listen, I need to create stories that have non-white characters as leads instead of as supporting side characters, because, listen, it's finally time. And this is Xina's position. And it's also a true position because this is not a single pole position. This is a bifurcated position. I would like to see leads, and also when you have us as side characters, I'd also like that side character to not be a one-note joke of stereotypes, but instead a multifaceted dimensional character that allows me to connect to them and see them for something more than just a stereotype or a one-dimensional tool to expose the plot and make you emotional. So, for example, in Princess and the Frog, the Cajun Bayou Firefly that assumes that a star in the sky is his wife, girlfriend. I love you, my Angelique. Ooh, there. Wah, 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 wah. Niggas cried over a firefly! Granted, this would have been a Cajun Bayou White mud stomper, but still, a firefly. They cried over a firefly. They connected to the character because, oh my god, this man believed in something so much that he finally was able to be with them in the afterlife. Imagine that character, but written by a liberal. That real bad. That mental image you just got was real bad, right? That's Noah's position. Xena's position is, hey, I can make an original character. Instead of us choosing to whitewash characters, which we didn't do back then, when we were still making shit, instead of doing that, I can have the Firefly character and I can make this new Disney classic. I could do that again, but with a Caribbean story. And then if I have characters in there, I can have somebody who's a character actor and a character voice actor, like Carl. I can have them do a bunch of voices, and then it'll be great. But no, we can't have that, and we can't have that. One dimension. One dimension. Only one dimension in Noah's mind. I would like to order my food. I've seen Patience's response to Noah's response, but I have not. So we're gonna watch it. We're gonna watch all of it. It's not a very long video. I'm just vibing right now.
Created a new black princess and given her her own original story, people would have been very supportive of it. But they chose not to do that. They just keep choosing to recycle already pre-existing characters just so they can do their performative pandering. And I think it's time for us to stop celebrating that.
Before we address this conclusion and some of these reasons, I want to talk for a moment about bias. Throughout this video, Patience describes how...
Why are we talking about bias instead of just giving a criticism to that? Because if you're going to claim that she's biased because actually she just wants to see these things because she really wants them, and if we deny it from her, we're doing a disservice, you're going to have to explain how. You're going to have to explain how. I don't know what I want to eat. I don't want pizza. I work at a pizza parlor. I want burgers. I also want tacos. I also want wings. But if I want wings, I should just go to Publix and I should buy a bag of wings and fry them myself. So that knocks that out. It's a tailor off between Del Taco and Taco Bell. Vote in the chat. 1 for Taco Bell, 2 for Del Taco. Vote now.
This controversy over race swapping is not getting the nuance it deserves. She laments the way that the mainstream discourse surrounding it is driven by those who are labeling everyone that disagrees as racist.
I do think that within the mainstream, the discussion is lacking a lot of nuance. It seems like the summary of the takes that I've seen so far is very much race swapping good. If you disagree, bad, you bigot. And I have a lot of issues with this for a number of reasons.
At one point, she says that it's wrong how they're forcing redheads to celebrate their own erasure in the name of inclusivity.
If you were a woman with red hair, Ariel is the one Disney princess that looked like you were a kid. And now you have to sacrifice her. Otherwise, if you don't celebrate the fact that you've lost her, then you are now deemed as a racist. So they're essentially having to celebrate their own erasure in order to come across as open-minded and inclusive and progressive. And it's messed up.
One question that I think is important we ask here, though, is this what's really going on? And if it is, who is saying this? Who is labeling everyone as racist and forcing redheads to celebrate their own erasure? In this video, Patience doesn't show anyone saying either of these things. She doesn't give any examples.
She didn't show any examples on the screen. Therefore, bullshit. Also, lying. Except that we have seen this. I can literally go onto TikTok right now and find the motherfuckers doing this. And more importantly, not only can I find them doing this, I can find them bragging about it. In fact, I will pull up one such example. Specifically on Harry Potter Legacy. Remember the project that Troy Levitt got bullied out of because they refused to allow the man to make the wizardry one with the niggadry? Remember? Do you remember, Aiden? I don't know if you paid attention to that story, but Troy Levitt, he was the guy that criticized Xina Sarkeesian and made videos on his channel about it. I'll pull him up really fast. Because I saw it, because he was the information that I got the numbers from that I made my criticism of against Xina Sarkeesian about. This man, this guy, him, Troy Levitt, game developer, years of purpose, antagonized and singled out and called evil because he dared to criticize people, and way back when, criticized the bullshit around feminist frequency. That was him. These motherfuckers decided he doesn't get to have a platform. He doesn't get to make a game and make wizardry, one with the niggatry. But then at the same time, those who felt upset had shit like this to say. If I can fucking pull it up. I gotta scroll for a bit.
Black hairstyles in the new Harry Potter game are looking crisp as fuck, I can't lie. I can say that the wizardry is one with the niggatry. And what's even cooler about this is that people who play video games who are like low-key racist try to say that you can't make black characters' hair in video games. And again, once again, this is clear proof. That being said, video games are propaganda. This game is literally about putting down a slave rebellion, and J.K. Rowling is a wild, flaming turf. I think I'll pass. Black hairstyles in the new Harry Potter game are looking crisp as fuck, I can't lie.
The tweet that he's citing here at the start of his video. Black folks won. This shit about to be Harry Potter and the Deathly Hollow tips. Those are the people saying that shit, Noah! They're your viewpoints. There they are, right there. Those are the people who are saying that shit. Saying shit like that and saying shit like this. Why don't you put those guys on the screen, Noah? Why didn't you do the effort of at least trying to go look for them? I found them. I found them while I was walking towards work. They deplatformed people like Troy Levitt because people like this claimed that they weren't being cared for. They weren't being given in video games the kind of product that they wanted. And so he set out to put his troll Troy Levitt in it, and he did. He did that for you. What was his reward? His reward was to be called a woman hater, a misogynist, a TERF, a supporter of trans lives being erased, trans truth being ignored, and effectively because he was tired of being bullied for nothing, being pushed out of his career field, because a bunch of fucking online losers didn't like the fact that they weren't able to bully him faster. And then after deplatforming this man, because I have a clip somewhere in the video of him being fucking stupid about that and other things that he tried to argue with me about, you all wrote wall-to-wall coverage of him being fired and dropped. You wrote about the controversies, but you didn't write about the aftermath. Because you didn't care about the aftermath. That didn't matter to you. You wanted your scalp. Shit like that, shit like this, one and the same. But somehow, I can find the proof of it happening. I can find all of it. But for Noah, can't be bothered. It couldn't possibly be that he's leaving it out. No, not possible. Those people just don't exist. It's just not real. It's just not true. There are those people, a figment of your imagination.
or cite any quotes where people are calling everyone racist. The only citation of any opposition to this backlash is the following clip, which she plays at the very start of her video from The Daily Show with Trevor Noah.
The Little Mermaid is white, not black.
Really, people? We're doing this again? Huh? She looks nothing like nothing.
Also, Noah, you do realize that if you say she showed no examples of this happening, and then she showed a mainstream example of a minority figure doing the very thing she's criticizing, because what you mean to say when you say she didn't show any real examples is she didn't show any examples that I think is valid. Because I don't think what he said here was wrong. Because I agree with it. What you're telling me is that you don't actually care. You just want to deny her something that you know you can't defend. Because you can't defend Trevor Noah. So instead what you'll do is say, listen, the only example she really has is this example that proves her point. But don't look at that. I want to see more than just famous people saying it. But if I show you examples of irrelevant people saying it, you'll say, bro, those people are just online opinions. Their opinions don't really matter, except if they did matter, that they got a response from the people who were then responsible for then citing those examples from those supposed nobodies as the point of a Waypoint Kotaku article, as the point of a Rock Paper Shotgun or Destructoid article. If it's being quoted directly from people like Jita fucking Jackson, second in command to Jason Schreier, doing this very thing about Bayonetta itself, because, hey guys, listen, I don't know why straight men want to get fucked by a mommy-dommy dominatrix, but, like, this is for the queers. I don't get it, guys. What's going on here? At some point, you just have to say, listen, I don't like your opinion. I hate you. Stop talking. It would be faster. I promise. It'd be a faster example of how to shut people up.
Like they both have the tail, huh? They both have the red. She looks nothing like her. How do I even know that she's a mermaid? Once again, a bunch of internet racists are upset that a fictional character is being played by a black person. And honestly, I don't know what the big deal is.
Hello, darling. Welcome to another Wednesday Deep Dive.
So Noah here is not saying that everyone who dislikes this casting choice is racist, nor is he saying that white redheads should be forced to love this casting at the expense of their own representation. Far from it. Later on in that same episode of The Daily Show, he responds with empathy to the notion that for little redhead white girls who saw themselves in the original film, things may be different in the new one.
No, but the Little Mermaid, she means so much, and I don't deny that. I don't deny that it must have been amazing for any redhead little girls to see the Little Mermaid. It must have been amazing. It's a beautiful experience. But the movie's still there. You know what I'm saying? It's not gone.
What Noah is saying here, though, is that race.
Actually, the problem is that the film is not going to be there. If anybody knows anything about how Disney feels about putting things in the Disney vault, they're very much as likely as to erase the character entirely and replace her with this new modern day variation, because remember, updating the story for a modern audience! They're very likely to take a character, remake them, then re-edit them for a modern audience and put the original in the Disney vault, otherwise known as the paper shredder, and then just simply unperson it for existence. They've done it for so many things, it's not funny. They have done it for characters, they've done it for storylines, they've done it for plot, they've done it for tie-ins, they've done it for movies, they've done it for movie sequels, they've done it for direct-to-90s, direct-to-DVD sequels, and they have done it to films that they no longer want to stand by because the modern time and the modern audience would call us Nazis. I'm looking at you, Song of the South. I'm looking at you, Song of the South. And also you, moment inside of Pinocchio with the Jim Crows. Cause I seen a puppet fly, I seen a baboon fly, but I ain't never seen no elephant fly. I'm thinking of Dumbo, but there's also the bit in Pinocchio with the Prankster's Paradise. The Jackasses scene, that was what I was thinking of. My point still stands.
On the internet were mad about this casting choice, which is true. Upon release of the trailer, the hashtag #NotMyAriel began trending on Twitter. The hashtag was used to share racist comments and memes like these, which date back to when Bailey's casting was first announced in 2019, but were #NotMyAriel began trending on Twitter. The hashtag was used to share racist.
Listen. People having jokes, people making jokes and saying, listen, I'm the Little Mermaid now. That's racism. People making these jokes are racism. But it's also not racism when we, on the left, make those exact same jokes all the fucking time. Because, you see, I have the audience size, and also, he has the audience size, so it's okay, fuck you. Yes, I see, Noah. I understand. Everybody's wrong but you. Got it.
Comments and memes like these, which date back to when Bailey's casting was first announced in 2019, but were recirculated when the new trailer was released in September. The YouTube video of the trailer was dislike bombed, with the current count at 3.2 million dislikes.
Because it's dog shit. Chloe Bailey is sitting on a fucking empty sound set. It looks dark as shit. Why does the ocean look so fucking dark? Why does the inside of the cavern, which is supposed to be lit by the mirrors around it, and all the other trinkets and thingamabobs, look so fucking dark? Why does it not feel like the environment that you've decided you are going to try and copy? It feels like a cheap imitation that really needs a little bit more work and a little bit more time. If this was just a feature example, this is just a sample of what they're going to be making the scene look like, the lighting isn't accurate because they haven't finished the effects, that would be one thing. And if that were to change, then that would be a criticism that people would have to say, okay, they did fix it. They listened to us. But this is you saying you're not going to listen. In fact, you guys have no reason to be to even be hypocritical. Like, why are you even mad? What's the problem? And I think that's bullshit. For many reasons. But you probably don't, because you think that it should just be like that. For whatever purpose you believe it should be.
So you might say, well, no, that's not proof that people are being racist. Maybe out of all those 3.2 million people, 0 of them were disliking the video for racist reasons. And, well, I personally have a hard time believing that 3.2 million internet users can congregate anywhere without a significant portion of them being there for racist reasons, not the 4chan.
Listen, I don't believe that it could not be hate brigading. But me talking about this thing, in my viewpoint, it's not hate brigading. Because you see, one of the good ones.
Gamergate internet, not the N-word was trending on Twitter last week. Internet, we can scratch that example. Fine, whatever. One of the most widely criticized examples of the sort of racism here is when a Twitter account used artificial intelligence to make Halle Bailey white.
Yes. Listen, it's racism when a person uses artificial intelligence to demonstrate how easy it would be to just simply not do the thing that you're doing. When you guys do that, that's racism. Don't you understand that when you demonstrate that we are very lazy and that we could be doing a better job, that reminds us of how lazy we are, and therefore we see it as hatred? Don't you understand that makes us feel bad, and therefore you shouldn't do it? You should let us just get away with it. How could you do the racist thing of using technology? That hurts people. That really does hurt people.
White. They CGI whitewashed a clip from the trailer. Many celebrated the work, hyping up the possibility of this being done to the entire film. Truly wild stuff. The tweet reads, credits to our artificial intelligence scientist, 10 gazillion IQ. He fixed The Little Mermaid and turned the woke actor into a ginger white girl. Woke there is being used as a stand-in for black, which is a fairly common thing among the reactionary crowd. You know, if you're...
Well, no, it's not woke because it's black. It's black because it's woke. You got it backwards, Noah. It's not woke because she's black. It's woke because you're sitting there saying, well, why are you mad? Shouldn't you learn to separate art from artist? What? Can you not be able to relate to characters unless they look like you? You're doing that thing that people do to you, and you know that you're doing it because you're sitting there saying all of the talking points that you would be using should people have done it to you. But you believe that you'll get away with it because actually, if we just criticize people like this, maybe it'll work out in our favor and they won't look at us and do this to us. So we gotta be first. We gotta be the first ones to say this so that when they use this on us, we can recognize what's happening and they won't be able to make us look stupid. We'll do that all on our own. I got you, Noah. Don't worry. I can read your mind. It's very empty, but I can read your mind. I gotta leave behind one dragonhide.
White, you're just white, but if you're not white, you're political, you're woke. Coincidentally for them, wokeness is an evil force that's corrupting Western society, and they're trying to exterminate it, but I digress. Some pretty prominent YouTubers like Ava and Preach and The Quartering downplayed...
Ava and Preach downplayed it. The Quartering downplayed it. Let's read that back again. A channel operated by a Montreal-based African Haitian comedian and a Creole French comedian who's also a fighter downplayed the racism. And of course, Quarter Pounder. Get the jokes in. Get the jokes in, Noah.
And even defended this more transparently racist example from the controversy.
Side by side, where they had replaced Halle Berry with some generic redhead. I get the meme, but I just knew that this was going to be the shot that sparked a billion reads. And within hours, both accounts were suspended off Twitter. Why? I don't know. I've been told by all the leftists out there that mermaids don't exist, and so the race of said mermaids is not relevant. So when you turn Ariel black, that's stunning and progressive. When you turn Ariel white, you're suspended.
To briefly address this just cowardly argument from the Quartering here, no, mermaids aren't real, but Halle Bailey is. The video is whitewashing not just a...
Notice how he went after the Quarter Pounder. Also, I'm just saying Quarter Pounder because it's funny. I don't believe in the fucking Jeremy jokes. Notice how he's going after the Quarter Pounder here, instead of going after the pound for pound twin sister destroyer!
character, but a real human being, the actor playing the character. Making a real black human being white and then saying that by doing this you're fixing them is racist. Yes, that is a racist thing to do.
No, that's the terminology that people say because this relates to art fixing. This is a great opportunity for me to be able to use that video for my fan.
Obsessed with the show to the point of...
This is an old video. This is like, this is floor. Yeah, this is floor Carl. This is floor gang. This is year 2 Carl. I need a particular frame from here. This will do. Yes, this will do.
Everything.
This is a reference to this. When a person takes a character and they claim they fixed something, they are art fixing. Because, hey, if it's art fixing to take a character who's a ginger Scottish woman and change them into a black ginger Scottish woman, it should also be considered art fixing and acceptable when we take Nessa and we change them to have a slighter color, which is also weird because as an Okinawan woman, she would have a tan, especially if she's outdoors and she's also just there. That's what they mean when they say, I fixed it. Because if you're also aware of people doing this on Twitter, because they love to do it. They love to do this shit for attention. Especially people like SweetBeans99. Because Jessica Uchihas has not learned her lesson. When people art fix, they use the phrase that, oh, you made it wrong, but here, I fixed it for you. To try and rub in the fact that, yay, I don't like the way that you presented this, so I'm going to make it look the way that I think it should look. That's what they mean by fixed, because that's exactly what you would say. You taking that and then reaching and saying, listen, they're being racist because they're bragging about fixing the black woman. You are off your fucking rocker. You're off your fucking rocker.
Sorry to break it to you this way, but I don't know what else to call it, you know? So to return to this idea of bias, does Patience engage with any of these examples of racism in her video? No, she doesn't. She doesn't even bring them up. And was this intentional? I don't know. I'm not a mind reader. It's certainly possible that she just wanted to give her opinion on this topic, give voice to the points that she felt were underrepresented, and hadn't looked into any of these examples of racism. But what I do know is that without doing that, in this video, she is presenting a very biased view of this controversy, one that fails to accurately portray the opposing viewpoint that there may be some legitimate concern over the racist origins of this backlash. And so what's the problem with all this then? Well, see, this sort of bias in online content is how echo chambers form. If an audience member is willing to take Patience at her word, willing to accept the assumption without evidence, the mainstream media is calling everyone racist.
Here's the thing, Noah. I didn't take Xina at her word. I actually just simply looked. Not only have I already covered these topics, not only am I actually aware of how these topics work, not only am I not so fucking lazy as to simply take someone's word for it, but instead go looking for the examples so that I can know what they're referenced off of. So, because I want to see what they saw. I know that she's not lying, and I know you are. So when you say people just take her word for it, no, they're not taking her word for it. The word is you. You are the word. This is you. You are the word confirming that opinion. She said a thing, and then you said, that's not actually happening. Now let me demonstrate the thing actually happening by being the example. And she comes back and say, see, nigga? You! It's you, Noah! It's you!
Willing to believe that no racism is actually occurring, that everyone objecting to the casting is doing so for totally valid reasons, then it's possible that they already have some form of conservative bias or anti-woke disposition. Or if
oh my god! What does that have to do with having a conservative bias? Disliking the Disney property schlock makes you conservative? Wild.
If they don't, then this video and subsequent content that will get recommended to them, content that without evidence narrativizes about woke Disney and the epidemic of false racism accusations, that content will help them develop this conservative anti-woke disposition. And given that this video currently has...
No! What will do that is you accusing them of things that they're not, and when they tell you, no, I'm not, can you show me examples of how you prove that? You sit there and say, well, you see, you said that Disney's Ariel was woke. Clearly, that makes you a conservative. Stop it. Microphone's all the way over there, but stop it. Stop it!
Has a 99% like to dislike ratio and very little dissent in the comment section with thousands of comments praising Patience's nuance. This process may have already begun. I bring this up because, as I showed before, Patience is no fan of echo chambers, apparently. And if that is the case, then I'd assume she would like her audience to evaluate her presentation with a critical eye and challenge her when important context is absent from her analysis. I also bring it up mainly because, to be honest, I see a lot of myself in this video. In the past, I've made content that has relied on certain assumptions formed through my own bias towards leftist politics. And believe it or not, it's actually pretty easy to grow on YouTube without ever having to recognize that that's what's going on, without ever having to learn how to adequately present and engage with opposing arguments. Granted, I feel like there's some room for that on the more entertainment-focused YouTube space. Sometimes you just want to clown on some weirdos.
You mean, the thing that we do to you and that you guys get mad about because you don't have the ability to criticize it, because if you were to criticize people like myself or Jay, you'd get called racist. Because we're freely throwing around N-bombs. Is it like that, Noah? Is it what happens when we have fun and you don't like the fact that we're having fun at your expense? You know, kind of like when Xander Hall tried to talk about Wings of Power, and Mahler went through it with other people on Every Frame of Pause, and there was an actual, like, nerd reason for why people didn't like Wings of Power, and he just claimed everybody who doesn't like it's just racist. They're all just a bunch of racists. Is it like that? Is it like Clone Vosh trying to come at me and telling me the reason that I have opinions about video games isn't because I'm a CPSC student? It's not because I'm a game developer. It's not because I'm a voice actor with 10 years of experience both coding and also working, but also because I really love games. Without them, I would not be dead, because I would have committed the sewer slide through the great drain pipe of life instead of being here to mock you for being retarded. Is it like that? Is it like that when a black male liberal with more fucking pimples in his forehead at this age than I've ever had in my life, claiming, listen, he doesn't like minorities, and he certainly doesn't like those who are disabled. It's a cudgel. He uses them as cudgels to prove his opinion, when I myself am the very disabled player that he claims I'm trying to use as a weapon? Is it like that, Noah? Is it like that? I think it's like that.
Without having to constantly articulate what makes them weirdos, and I think that's totally valid. However,
no, you actually do need to be able to demonstrate what makes them weirdos, because if you just antagonize them for no reason and you claim that it's justified, I get to slap you in the face with my penis. I get to slap you right across the face. Pop, pop. I just walk up to you right at the next VidCon. I'm gonna have a step stool and a ladder, or maybe just an entourage of like 5 people, or like one tall motherfucker, and I'm just have them lift me up to your face and be like, oh, hey, Noah, bish! And you'll be like, oh my god, he hit me with his meat! Why does it smell like fish? That's what I get to do. If that's what you get to do here, that's what I get to do there. And here, in my chair.
Once things enter the political realm, as I feel that they have in this video, with it being a discussion of race and ethics and media, I feel like this kind of stuff is important. And while true, nuance is definitely a difficult thing to achieve, there's a certain low bar to even meet the definition of the word nuance that isn't being cleared here, in my opinion. But yeah, okay, that's enough.
Nuance means there is more than one way to look at this. To you, that's like saying, listen, the way you want to see things, I consider to be racist. Therefore, the nuance doesn't exist, because the only way it could be is that, listen, do you think people would just congregate? I can't go back to where it was. It's just going through clips of him, and I don't care. Where was it?
Enough about nuance and bias on YouTube with formed through my echo chambers, a paranoid of false racism. Given that this video get recommended to them, this video and subsequent content that will get recommended patients accurately portray to give her human being.
You're suspended. Oh no.
Or white girl without dislikes. You might to when Bailey's casting was here though is the choice, which is true. Upon release of the trailer,
to quote you directly, there is no nuance here, because do you think people are going to congregate together in thousands, in hundreds of thousands, and tens of thousands to become the number of millions? Do you think all those people are there just because they happen to have an opinion, and even if they could have the bias of coming from a particular viewpoint, that they could look together and say, you know what, this is a soulless cash grab, and I don't want to give it my money? No! They're all Nazis! They're all racists. They're all secretly gooncock. You guys, you gotta understand, She-Hulk was right. We're all just intelligentsia. We're all just internet racists that hide behind masks. We hide behind masks, and we don't really have real opinions. We're like Fictional Darling said. We're all just a bunch of fucking losers that shouldn't put our names on things, because if they were to look us up, they'd find out that we're really mean people. Not you being social tyrants and bullies. No, Noah's right. We're wrong. You're killing my throat, dude. I don't want to have to lose my voice, and then tomorrow during the D&D session, I have to use my deep voice. Also, side note, if you didn't know, Aiden in the chat and I play D&D with her husband and her group on her channel, The Broken Crown, for Rolling in the Isles. I play a deathless ghost who is effectively possessing people to do funky panda shit. Check it out tomorrow. Fucking, what time do we usually start? 4 p.m.? 4 p.m. on, from the Discord. Check it out on the channel. I'll post the link on Twitter when we go live again. Don't miss it. It's funny. All right, back to this bullshit.
With it being a discussion of race and ethics, I think that's totally valid. However, once things enter the political realm, as I feel that they have in this video, with it being a discussion of race and ethics and media, I feel like this kind of stuff is important. And while true, nuance is definitely a difficult thing to achieve, there's a certain low bar to even meet the definition of the word nuance that isn't being cleared here, in my opinion. But yeah, okay, that's enough about nuance and bias. Let's now look at some of the main points Patience raises in her video in closer detail. And we'll do that right after a quick word from today's video sponsor, Scentbird. Hey everybody, do you like smells? Do you like going?
I don't care about your sponsors, Noah, and I'm not sponsoring you. Earn your money by being a better content creator.
Erasing redhead representation.
As Hollywood strives to become more inclusive.
With Scentbird. Alright, now let's get back to the video. There are a few moments in this video where Patience speaks to the notion that this casting decision is erasing redhead representation.
As Hollywood strives to become more inclusive, they've decided that red-haired female characters are going to be their collateral damage. Every time we have new black representation, we lose red-haired white women's representation. Leave the redheads alone, allow the redheads to keep their representation, and create new black Disney princesses.
And right off the bat, I do find this point strange, because in this new trailer, I'm almost positive that Ariel has red hair. Like she has the hair, it's red.
Her hair being red does not make her Ariel. She is Ariel in name only. It is like walking into an alternate dimension where up is down and black is white. And you say, look, that's totally Ariel. Look, she has the hair color and everything. It means that you don't understand the reason why people looked at Zendaya Coleman's presentation of Michelle Jones, and when you say, look, what do you mean? Her name's Michelle Jones, it's still MJ? What do you mean? What's the problem? Why are you mad, you fucking Nazi? It doesn't work, okay? I know you're on the take right now. It doesn't work. Stop it. It doesn't work. Stop. Stop it now.
Is reddish orange hair. I think, to be fair though, this trailer was color graded like an episode of Mindhunter for some reason, so it is possible that Patience assumed that her hair is light brown, which, okay, that's fair, I suppose. Let's just move forward as if that's the case. One of the things that really stood out to me when she was talking about redhead erasure was a hypothetical blonde Ariel situation.
I can promise you right now, if they had recast Ariel as a blonde girl, people would have been just as upset. It's got nothing to do with the fact that the new Ariel is black. It's everything to do with the fact that the new Ariel doesn't look like the original.
Now, are there redheads out there that would have been upset about a blonde Ariel? Sure, of course there are. But disgruntled redheads aren't the ones driving this backlash. Conservative influencers.
Ah, see, actually, the people who are driving the backlash are people like Matt Walsh. Therefore, something, Gish Gallop, and we're moving on.
And none of them have red hair. The whole narrative here is supposed to be that Disney is going woke by pandering for minority representation. Patience brings up this point a number of times in the video.
Just so they can do their performative pandering.
And like, performative pandering doesn't really work if you make your characters Aryan. If anything, the racist people we looked at earlier would love that. They use artificial intelligence to fix a real black actor by making her white. So like, why stop at the skin? Make her blonde, make her eyes blue while you're at it. Tattoo a swastika onto the frog, who cares? Or the most vocal of those yelling about this trailer, the hair isn't the problem. The problem is race. It's the perceived threat against the preservation of whiteness. And what I find is
it's not about preservation of whiteness. It's about the fact that you feel that you need to remake a 90s classic. And that to try to get new eyes on it, and again, to hold to the standard that was put together by the now replaced Bob Iger instead. Or was it Bob Chapek? Bob Chapek replaced with Bob Iger. Yeah, I got it backwards. With the original standard that was put forth with Disney, that we would update the story for a modern audience, much like how you tried to make the subtext about Gaston's assistant being gay and instead making it text, the way that you chose to fuck up different variations of those remakes by, for example, with Mulan, making a really shitty version that said, no, the reason why she's a soldier isn't because she wanted to bring honor to her family and she disagreed with their traditions of China. It's because she has the correct chi! Dog shit. Hey guys, instead of having the original voices for these actors as best that we could get them, instead of making like a better, like updated variation of the 90s animation we did with The Lion King, let's just have anthropomorphic lions with absolutely none of the physical emotion and emoting in their CGI expressions. Let's just do the shit again and make it look like it's a film of National Geographic, but the animals talk just like that, just like that, just like that. It's just like that, bro.
Especially odd here is this insinuation that redhead representation is somehow more important than black representation. And no, Patience doesn't ever say this outright, and I don't think she'd necessarily agree with it on its own. However, is that not the implication here? Redheads make up...
No, it's not the implication. The implication is the character's original fucking look was alabaster skin, red hair, and a personality that goes with wanting to understand and see and learn about the outside world. That was the original character of Ariel. Ariel, as she was adapted by Disney, but that was the original 90s Ariel. By choosing to cast Chloe Bailey, and choosing to make it as though it is exactly what you did with Black Annie, Blanny, you chose, instead of making your own version, to basically say, hey, Black Annie exists in the same world as the original Warbucks Annie. I then ask you, why am I here? So that fucking Jamie Foxx can get a paycheck? because that's what it sounds like. That's what it looked like. That's what you're doing here. Chloe Bailey gets a paycheck. And Harry Styles, being the prince in this version, gets a paycheck. And you sit here and say, listen, you're not missing out. The original still exists. But, again, Disney, and how long will it exist for? And how long do you expect people to sit there and pretend that you're not about to tell them the lie that you're telling them? It doesn't work all the time. It don't work all the time, buddy.
1 to 2% of the population, less than a tenth of the Black American population. Statistically speaking, they've actually been...
Also, it's important that we know for a fact that this is true, because this thumbnail that's about to come up here, that he's about to use...
Hollywood's whitewashing of non-white characters, and blackface, of course, there's no representation. Less than a 10 is outright, especially on here, is this...
Or at least it's the one that I have here at this chapter section. Because the chapter section, let me see if I can pull out the image. Here we go. You used an image of Michelle Jones, you used the image of Black Annie, and you're now using the image of Chloe Bailey to demonstrate the point that was being made about Mary J. Watson being replaced, in MCU canon at least. The version that people will have because of relevance in social media and clout with MCU films basically is going to be Michelle Jones, not Mary J. Watson, because how many of the Zoomers are actually going to go back and watch the Sam Raimi Spider-Man films? Black Annie, because of the Annie replacement here, and of course Ariel with Chloe Bailey. You're doing that thing where you're reaching, and you're saying, oh, I don't understand why they would see it like this, but then you're showing the examples of exactly why they would see it like that. So that's some bullshit.
This insinuation that isn't the problem. The problem is race. It's the perceived threat against the preservation of whiteness. And what I find especially odd here is this insinuation that redhead representation is somehow more important than black representation. And no, Patience doesn't ever say this outright, and I don't think she'd necessarily agree with it on its own. However, is that not the implication here? Redheads make up 1 to 2% of the population, less than a tenth of the Black American population. Statistically speaking, they've actually been overrepresented in much of the media over the years. And if we contrast that with the historical underrepresentation of black people in Hollywood roles by way of racist exclusion, the countless examples of Hollywood's whitewashing of non-white characters.
Look, we did this in the past where we used to race wash characters. So that means this is okay. Shut up.
And blackface, of course, there's that. Justifying the backlash here in the name of representation doesn't make any sense. Not unless one of those forms of representation is more important than the other. Thankfully, though, woke Disney isn't pitting these groups against one another because, as we looked at before, she has
They literally were. Noah, they put together those minority groups that were trying to use, as a basis to have them work together. The one that was for Compass, the one that was for black people that was at Wakanda, all of those. The one for Compass was the one that was intended for Asian Americans. The ones for Wakanda was targeted at Black Americans, and then there was another one that was focusing on the southeastern Asian continent users, as well as the area of Guiana and all other places that would be seen in the Philippines, in the area that we usually refer to as Oceania. They were doing that. They were actively doing that. They were actively trying to pit them against each other. They were trying to pander to all of them at the same time.
Red hair in the trailer, and in a way, I feel like that's what makes this casting kind of an interesting case of representation, right? Like, a black actor with red hair is a synthesis, in some sense, of these two minority identities. For the young redheads who saw themselves in the 1989 Ariel, Bailey has red hair too. Can they not see themselves represented in this?
What did I just say, Noah? What did I just say? Look, she has red hair. What? Well, you can't see yourself in her? She has the red hair. Is that not good enough?
New Ariel, or does she need to be white for that to happen? And if she does, that's like a great opportunity for us to look inward and try and understand what that is. What is it about whiteness that we are trying to protect, that we need in order to still enjoy this story? The second...
Why are you trying to protect the whiteness, bro? Just let the whiteness die, bro. Let the past die, bro. Come on, be diversified. Come on, what, you don't like chocolate?
Major point that Patience raises in defense of the backlash over this casting is that of sentimentality. Humans are sentimental creatures, she says, and we don't appreciate it when our art and characters are changed to be different from how we remember them.
So the first explanation is that human beings are just very sentimental creatures. We build attachments to people, to things, and also to fictional characters.
She gives plenty of examples, like backlash in the Twilight fandom when it was announced that Robert Pattinson had been cast as Edward, as well as backlash over various recastings from TV shows over the years and from the recent character redesign of Bob the Builder. And sure, these are all things that happen, right? Fandom backlash is fairly common, and the examples she gives are indicative of the types of attachments that we form to the characters that we enjoy. However, I feel like these examples don't really track here. For one thing, similarly to the redhead erasure point, the backlash...
Listen, she's right, but I want to disagree with her. So let me explain to you how she's actually wrong.
Bailey's casting is not being driven by the sentimental Ariel fandom. It's being driven by, well, racist internet trolls and amplified by conservative influencers. Conservative influencers...
Everything I don't like is being enhanced by trolls and then pushed and promulgated and blown up to bigger drama by the people that I can't bully because they have bigger platforms than me.
Who do not give a f about The Little Mermaid. Sorry to say. Matt Walsh, Candace Owens, The Quartering, and so on. None of these people had ever talked about The Little Mermaid before this trailer dropped. If there's some major backlash among the Ariel... However, I feel like these examples don't really track here. For one thing, similarly to the redhead erasure point, the backlash to Bailey's casting is not being driven by the sentimental Ariel fandom. It's being driven by, well, racist internet trolls and amplified by conservative influencers. Conservative influencers who do not give a f about The Little Mermaid. Sorry to say.
Matt Walsh is talking about something that has become drama because you are making it a piece of drama. He is covering the news. Candace Owens is talking about something that you have made into the point of drama because you are talking about it in the news cycle. She is a news broadcaster. She is covering the news.
Candace Owens, the quartering.
Quartering is a news broadcaster, probably one of the biggest on the platform, bigger than your dumbass, just as big as Keemstar, who he could be seen as a mirror of, making content in this style, just like Yellow Flash, just like Nick Ricada, just like all of these other people. They are covering the news. You and people like you with this viewpoint have made it necessary to cover the story because you're whinging about it and because people are interested and they're going to be lazy and not look into it themselves or going to simply consume the content from their source with their viewpoint. And if they're smart, they're going to consume it from multiple viewpoints and absorb all of those perspectives inward and then come up with an opinion and a viewpoint based on all of those different pieces of media. The same thing that you could be doing with your own content, because they can take your opinion, his opinion, her opinion, my opinion, the Quartering's opinion alongside Mahler's opinion, Jay's opinion, hell, even Aiden's opinion, or the opinions of some of the more louder members of our audience, and they can then get a viewpoint that is closer to the truth. Because the truth of the matter is it's not my side and your side, it's my side, your side, and something in the middle. But no, that's too hard for you. You're instead gonna be a little pussy and keep complaining about shit that's not a problem, because you need something to whine about. You fucking bitch.
And so on. None of these people had ever talked about The Little Mermaid before this trailer dropped. If there's some major backlash among the Ariel fandom that I'm missing, I'm happy to be proven wrong about that. But from here, it seems that this appeal to sentimentality is being utilized by these trolls and right-wing culture war manufacturers. Like, if you're someone who's sentimental about the old Ariel, no, I don't think that on its
culture war manufacturers. Hold on to that word for a while, guys.
own makes you racist. However, if it doesn't concern you that this appeal to sentimentality is being co-opted by many for racist ends, then I don't know. It should probably. Also, just kind of a side note here, but Ariel's original voice actor from the 1989 film, Jodie Benson, did give her blessing on the casting, and that's got to count for something among the fandom, right? Because that's their lady. So Patience's conclusion in this video is that instead of race swapping these characters, we need more black stories. Stop the pandering remakes and make new good here. But Ariel's original voice actor from the
Her original voice actor gave her her blessing. A person who works in Hollywood, who understands what way the wind blows, is defending their career. That means you're in the wrong, bigot. Why you win, Nazis? Fucking loser.
1989 film, Jodie Benson did give her blessing on the casting, and that's got to count for something among the fandom, right? Because that's their lady. So Patience's conclusion in this video is that instead of race swapping these characters, we need more black stories. Stop the pandering remakes and make new, good, non-white centered stories instead.
I do agree that representation matters, and I think it is beautiful to see the reactions of young black girls seeing themselves represented as Disney princesses. And I think they should absolutely have that, but it should be done properly. And this isn't the way to do it properly.
This is by far the best reason one could give for disagreeing with Bailey's casting. It's the most popular reason, found in plenty of other YouTube videos and many comment sections. And it's also, I think, profoundly unconvincing. While I completely agree that we do need more stories like this conclusion represents a false dichotomy. They're saying that instead of Black Ariel, we need more black stories. But the obvious question in response to that is, why not both? Disney has been
because this is a soulish cash grab. And why not both? Because the way that Disney works is that they put their money into products, and what they get back, a very big return, they double down, triple down, quadruple down. Look no further than Disney Plus as a case example of this. All of the things that have happened since they released it, and the fact that they are still bleeding that $60 million a day, and they're not making that shit back at all, goes forth to show that example. People like Fictional Darling wouldn't be doxing people in her comment section and then deleting the video of her doxing a person in her comment section if she was just confident in the fact that the project was good. You wouldn't have interviews from Variety magazine where you have the writers in the room saying, yeah, Kevin Feige was on our side the entire time. He always knew we were going to make a dog shit product to troll the trolls, because you see, we didn't want to write a story about a legal drama. We didn't want to write a story about a comedy. We didn't want to write a story about a character. We wanted to attack the trolls and tell them that they're big crybaby misogynerds, and also have sexual stories where we make Jennifer Walters into a fucking loser incel with no riz. See, we're the smart ones here. You guys are dumb.
Making their old films in live-action format for a while now. And while yes, many, if not most of them, are trash, the live-action Little Mermaid was inevitable. It was going to be made regardless of who was playing Ariel, and of course it's not out.
It was going to be made regardless. Therefore, I have to defend it, because you see... Shut up!
yet, so it may not even be trash, but having a black lead in a movie that is 100%
How do you know it's not shit? I haven't shit it out yet.
going to get made doesn't like delete the script of a different original black-centered story from Disney's Google Docs, right? No, that is not what happens. The movie's already being made. Backlash over bad Disney.
Except when Google Docs decides that that document shouldn't be seen by eyes of the public and then is deplatformed instead of simply being archived in its original format, but then no longer made possible to be reshared outside of that context, which wouldn't really matter because if the context is still there, then it shouldn't be an issue. But don't ask questions about manifestos. Just believe our words for it and take our word. You shouldn't read it. Let us read it for you because you can't be trusted. Who you gonna believe? Me or your lying eyes?
Remakes doesn't have to mean backlash over this casting, but they are being grouped together here, and you don't have to look far to figure out why. Another question I have about this conclusion here is, like, were you asking for black stories before this controversy? Not even Patience necessarily.
Yes, they were. They always were. They've been asking for black stories. They've been asking for better black characters that aren't stereotypes. They've been asking for black characters to be leads. They've been asking for better comics featuring black characters and also black-owned, black-made businesses, whether they chose to do so because they really just wanted to be Pan-African panopticons or because they wanted to see something like that of the Rippaverse, made by Young Ripper 5'9", the man, the myth, the legend, and people like you sitting there doing nothing to talk about it because, listen, we can't talk about Isom. We can't talk about Isom in the Rippaverse because, you see, when Young Ripper comes to pull your ass and pull cards and pull money real hard, the same way that it was pulled when it was Ethan Van Sciver, the same way it was pulled when it was Richard Meyer, your boy Zach, the same way it was pulled when it was him, the same way it was pulled when it was Piper and members of Graded Point 5 with Peregrine the Falcon or any of the other original comics that aren't inside the wheelhouse of all the people that work at the big three, or one of the smaller ones like IDW, when it was all those motherfuckers, no, we can't talk about it then, we can't talk about it then, that's a problem. But when it's all this other shit, oh, my guy, listen, the only reason they could be doing it, the only reason could be racism. Listen, you gotta listen to me. You gotta listen to me. I'm not wrong, they're wrong. Oh, Noah.
Necessarily, right? But any of these media people, the primary sources of this backlash, are we really supposed to believe that they care about black stories? I think, and maybe this is just a hot take, but
yes. They can have two things. What? Why? Okay, let's do this. Why can't they be both? Why can't they be racists but also want to see blacks do good? I'm a dick. Why can't they be both, Noah? Why can't they be both? Why can't they make money and also support good products?
I think they don't care. They don't care at all, not one bit. And the reason for that is, well, the only time they seem to talk about it is when the sanctity of white characters is being threatened by wokeness. Wokeness being, again, black people, black actors. That's what they mean when they say it. They pull out there, what if Black Panther was white?
That's not what they mean. And they pull out Black Panther, what if he was white? Would you care about it then, to show how easy it is to show that you're a hypocrite?
Trap card their racist Black James Bond impressions only when they feel like their white identity is being erased or replaced. Perhaps many of the people coming to this conclusion, evidenced in the comments, do actually care and do want to see more standalone, diverse Hollywood films. I really have no reason to believe that they don't. However, it is frustrating, right? Because clearly these desires, many of them genuine, have been taken advantage of in this backlash. They've been co-opted by people who definitely don't care about black stories and used as a thin mask to hide their racist dog whistling. I just want more people to understand that that is what's going on. That is what co-opted by people who definitely don't care.
Noah, what are you looking at?
About black stories and use as a because clearly these desires, many of them to see more standalone, diverse of in this backlash. They've been co-opted by people who definitely don't care about black stories. It is frustrating, right? Because clearly these desires.
Noah, are you so shit that you can't memorize your lines and you're reading directly off your second screen what you need to say? Are you that bad? Clearly you are!
Many of them genuine have been taken advantage of in this backlash. They've been co-opted by people who definitely don't care about black stories and used as a thin mask to hide their racist dog whistling. And I just want more people to understand that that is what's going on. That is what you're propping up when you use this argument against the casting of a black actor. Towards the end of the video, Patience makes an appeal to the black people who celebrate this casting. Demand more from these filmmakers. Don't let them pander to you by cheaply race-swapping remakes.
To the black people who celebrate these race swaps, I really would like you to demand more from these filmmakers, because if they can use their creativity and be original when they write stories like Moana or write stories like Encanto, then why do you not demand the same for your own black representation?
What's really wild about this point to me is the assumption that the people celebrating more black representation in media, like Bailey playing Ariel, aren't also advocating for more standalone black stories. That there are droves of black people who want representation at the expense of new original stories. I don't agree with.
Because you do. Because you claim that you want to have space, but really what you do is that you brag about things that you get, while at the same time then saying you won't consume them. Case point being the example I played. That's just one case of all the shit that I have saved up. Because I intend on making a video about that shit once that fucking game drops. The attitude and the ire that you have to brag about things that you then don't enjoy is wild. Oh my god, finally! They made a perfect piece of media just for me! But I'm not going to use it, because the person who made it, the person who the original concept came from, that allowed this piece of media that is diverse from the original source that it might have started from, that person is an evil Nazi bigot, or a fucking loser I don't like, or whatever insult I want to call them, especially if I wanted to claim something like, oh, this person's a TERF, or this person's a misogynist, or they're a red pill loser. I don't like them, so I'm not going to support the product, but damn, it's great! It's finally time! Finally! A piece of media for me! That I'm not going to eat! Patooey! 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 I swear, sometimes I swear I'm not retarded. I swear I'm not autistic. I'm just a little bit quirked up. I'm just a little bit too goated in the sauce. I'm marinated in too much bass.
With that assumption, not one bit. I think it's a bad assumption. Again, we return to this question of why can't we have both of these things? Seeing as patients didn't raise any mermaid race science arguments or stringent false defenses of the whiteness of Danish folklore, as we've seen elsewhere, I am left with no other questions than GIF. Play the GIF, please. Why not both? Why not? Alright, so to just bring things back into perspective here, I don't believe this video to be necessarily actively harmful in and of itself. Patience does strike me as someone with genuine beliefs, and her intent here seems to be giving voice to the more benign points regarding the need for proper representation, points that may have been wrongfully grouped in with the more overtly racist backlash. I think the comment section shows this, with many of the people in there echoing her conclusion that they really just want to see more unique non-white stories. However, by glossing over the actual nuance of this situation, by failing to include any of the very visible examples of racism that drove this backlash, and by giving in to the false frame,
because you didn't talk about the people I don't like, I think you're bad faith. Send tweet.
Think that this casting is somehow at odds with standalone non-white centric films. I do think that this video serves to normalize white supremacist rhetoric in a way that might not be intended.
White supremacist rhetoric!
Most of the points being raised here are fine when made in a vacuum. However, when they're made in opposition to the casting of a black actor in a white fish character role, their most visible function is to validate racism, to validate those who want to protect whiteness as an identity.
Validate racism.
To defend the cultural hegemony of white supremacy, not to mention unfair
cultural hegemony of white supremacy. Guys, get America First on the line. Vic Fuentes is back in business.
Denigrate an actor who, at least according to the people that actually made the film, absolutely earned this role. There it is, Joe, aka Joey, just released a great video on this same topic of race swapping discourse, and he made a really good point that I want to share, which is that no matter how much these chuds doth protest, there's no such thing as
calling the people who you disagree with chuds and insulting their intelligence because you claim they don't have real opinions.
Reverse whitewashing.
But when a character is white, that usually means the race does not have any meaningful side of the character at all. They just so happen to be white in a different version, and losing said whiteness doesn't really take anything away from them. Conversely, if the character was black and the race was changed, that would be racial representation. I don't know how many fucking times I gotta say this, but the roles cannot be reversed.
The roles can be reversed, and you guys gotta stop this. If I can take a character that was black and make them white, and that character functionally did not change in any real way, but I can do that the other way around, and something is taken away from them, because it's a key factor of their personality that is a very subtle nuance, that is both A, the choice of the actor portraying them, B, a choice of the set design and a choice of the costuming that they were given, and D, a choice of the background of the said character from how they were written in the casting call. It's like if I took a Jewish character that was white, that was very Jewy, like very, very Jewy, like Fran Drescher, high levels of Jewy, and I made them black, but I didn't make them a multiracial Jewish heritage figure. I just took a black actress with curly hair and I made her a Muslim, or I made her Jewish, or I made her a Jewish Muslim. Maybe she's a child of immigrants. Maybe she's stuck between two worlds, and she's trying to live one part to be respectful to her Jewish mother, but the other black part of her immigrant Muslim father she wants to do right by. If I just decide to stick her in there, but I never mention the Jewishness, I never mention the racism, I never mention the clashing of the cultures, and how Muslims, especially the kind that aren't taught the kind of moderate form of Islam, but instead the Wahhabi form of Islam. If I just decide to put that character actress in there, and then I have her saying talking points that come directly from the black Jewish Israelites, would it be like that? Would it not matter then, Joey? Would it not matter then, Joey? Of course.
Different because we don't refer to them as being fixed or better or official. They're just edits. Never that serious. Unless you need to defake a whole character to make her white. Let me repeat that. Unless you need to defake a whole character to make her white. I just don't understand it.
This is a genuinely brilliant video. I'll leave it linked below. But like, okay, my fear here is that videos like this open up the possibility, not just ideologically, but algorithmically, that people may be swayed into far-right thinking by starting with this seemingly innocuous interpretation of an anti-black controversy.
They might be forced and might be led into thinking in a pro-white position by seeing somebody who is black say, "Ayo fam, could you stop it with the race baiting?" and stop it with the memes trying to fish for race baiting and making arguments that aren't real and are not there that you're reaching for because you have a whole backlog of information that you want to dump on people.
Upon hearing this take from a creator who is co-opting the aesthetics of nuance without actually functionally providing that nuance, viewers may be pushed into anti-woke and eventually far-right echo chambers without realizing it until it's too late.
They may be pushed to not listen to me and my audience, and they might end up becoming a fan of somebody I don't like, and they're not giving me money, and that's a problem. She needs to be problematized.
If your content leans anti-woke, it's only a matter of time before YouTube plugs you in with some of the channels that we looked at today, and meshing audiences that fit into this.
Whoa, 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 whoa! Say that again!
Realizing it until it's too late. If your content leans anti-woke, it's only a matter of time before YouTube plugs you in with some of the channels that...
Did you just put Abba and Preach and the Amazing Lucas and Matt Walsh and the Quartering in the same pot and call them anti-woke white supremacist pushers? Is that what you just did, Noah? Fuck out of here! Immediately!
That we look at today, and meshing audiences that fit into this anti-woke disposition, all of whom love to hear these points get raised. You can't say anything these days, they'll cancel you for it. Feminists are causing problems again. Oh no. Is the internet really defending fat people that squished a conservative influencer on a plane? These all strike me as signifying.
That's the end of that video. You know what I should do? You know what I do when I disagree with two black men? I stick them in with other people who have differing opinions, a channel that bases themselves in wanting to talk about the nuances subjects, and I say that they push far-right viewpoints, and I put them in the same breath with Mash Walsh, and I say he pushes far-right viewpoints, and I put him in the same breath with Amazing Lucas, and I say he pushes far-right viewpoints, because I don't like the Quartering. I, Noah Samsen, don't like the Quartering, so I, Noah Samsen, will call Abba and Preach white supremacist supporters. I will call Matt Walsh a white supremacist supporter, and everybody else that I don't like a white supremacist supporter, because their audience isn't giving me money, and I don't like that. My nigga, my nigga, you cannot be for real. My nigga, you cannot be for real. My nigga, you cannot be for real. I think 52 should be enough. Oh my god, nigga, you cannot be for real. You cannot be for real. No. You cannot be for real, bro.
Hello my dears, welcome back to my channel. So today's video is an interesting one. So this video is going to be a response to the response made to me by Noah Samsen. So some interesting things have transpired over the last couple of days. I have had Noah's fans come over to my channel and insult me, as well as one calling me a Nazi, which was interesting. I have no idea what history book you had, but from the one that I had, black people were in the camps, not the ones guarding the camps. So I am confused as to how I could be a Nazi. But anyways, I thought it'd be interesting for us to take a look at Noah's video to kind of understand why this has happened. So the video that Noah is responding to in his response to me is my Little Mermaid video. So let's begin.
So in this video, Patience raises a number of points in support of her main thesis, that the backlash over Halle Bailey's casting as Ariel in the live-action Little Mermaid is, for the most part, justified. It's not motivated by racism, but by a number of valid reasons, which she goes on to outline.
There are some people who believe that simply providing an explanation for something automatically means that you are justifying it, which is false. Just because I simply provide other explanations as to why people are upset with the race swap does not automatically mean that I'm justifying it.
Her conclusion, which is framed as a compromise of sorts, is that we need more standalone non-white stories instead of recasting white roles with non-white actors. Throughout this video, Patience describes how this controversy over race swapping is not getting the nuance it deserves. She laments the way that the mainstream discourse surrounding it is driven by those who are labeling everyone that disagrees as racist. One question that I think is important we ask here, though, is this what's really going on? And if it is, who is saying this? Who is labeling everyone as racist?
That would be you, Noah, and also people who think like you, because later on in your video, you say this.
The backlash to Bailey's casting is not being driven by the sentimental Ariel fandom. It's being driven by, well, racist internet trolls.
So I guess you've answered your own question.
One of the most widely criticized examples of the sort of racism here is when a Twitter account used artificial intelligence to make Halle Bailey white. They CGI whitewashed a clip from the trailer. Many celebrated the work, hyping up the possibility of this being done to the entire film. Truly wild stuff. The tweet reads, "Credits to our artificial intelligence scientist 10 gazillion IQ. He fixed the Little Mermaid and turned the woke actor into a ginger white girl." Woke there is being used as a stand-in for black, which is a fairly common thing among the reactionary crowd. You know, if you're white, you're just white, but if you're not white, you're political, you're woke.
Is that an American thing? Because when he said this, I was really confused, because he's basically essentially saying that woke means black, as if to say that woke is a synonym for black. And as far as I'm aware, That has never been the case. Even when the term woke does originate from Black Americans because they used to use it to describe a state of mind. So if you were woke, it meant that you were aware of injustices. Like it's almost as if like a third eye opened, if you will. Like you could see the unseen. In modern time, it's kind of moved on to mean a variety of different things, not just issues pertaining to Black people and racial topics. But I have never ever known the word woke to ever be a synonym for Black. So I have to ask my American audience: is that an American thing, or is that just a Noah thing? Because
it is an American thing, baby. It is as American as apple pie and Alabama incest.
Where's that coming from?
If an audience member is willing to take patience at her word, willing to accept the assumption without evidence that the mainstream media is calling everyone racist, willing to believe that no racism is actually occurring, that everyone objecting to the casting is doing so for totally valid reasons, then it's possible that they already have some form of conservative bias or anti-woke disposition. That content will help them develop this conservative anti-woke disposition.
This is the first time that Noah reveals his true intentions with this video, when he starts to mention things like conservatism and how he dislikes people who have anti-woke rhetoric. Because I truly believe this video has nothing to do with Ariel and nothing to do with Black representation. I think that what Noah truly cares about is politics.
If an audience member is willing to take patience at her word, willing to accept the assumption without evidence that the mainstream media is calling everyone racist.
Without evidence, that's a key point to remember there. There's no evidence, even though I do show Trevor Noah at the beginning of my video saying that everyone who has an issue with it is racist. Not only that, everyone who has a smartphone and has social media would have seen the discourse that was happening around The Little Mermaid. And they know that the vast majority of people were saying that people were angry because they were racist. Don't understand why Noah's trying to gaslight me here and trying to say that that didn't happen. So none of you saw the people saying that the people who hate this race swap are racist. None of you saw that? Because according to Noah, that didn't happen. And Noah, I would appreciate it if you would make up your minds, because in one breath you're saying that no one is accusing those who are outraged by this race swap of being racist, but yet simultaneously, remember, you said this?
The backlash to Bailey's casting is not being driven by the sentimental Ariel fandom. It's being driven by, well, racist internet trolls. I see a lot of myself in this video. In the past, I've made content that has relied on certain assumptions formed through my own bias towards leftist politics. Once things enter the political realm, as I feel that they have in this video, with it being a discussion of race and ethics and media, I feel like this kind of stuff is important.
See, the thing is, Noah, you say that you see yourself in this because you used to have biases and you used to make assumptions, but you haven't remotely changed, because that's exactly what you've done within this video. You've assumed that my video was political when it had absolutely no political intent whatsoever. I was simply a Black woman talking about Black representation and my issues that I have with the way that Hollywood chooses to go about it. I also decided to provide other explanations as to why people were having issues with this race swap, because there was a lot of animosity and a lot of divisions and polarizations because of this, and I felt as though it would be good to also provide people a different perspective as to why people might be upset with this race swap. You are viewing my video with assumptions based on your biased American political lens. Race is a lot more of a political subject for you guys in America. Yes, race pops up in some of our political discussions, but we are nowhere near as political around the topic of race as Americans are. Because in America, race is so political to the point where your politicians feel comfortable to say things like this.
You got more questions, but I tell you, if you have a problem figuring out whether you're for me or Trump, and you ain't Black.
My video on Ariel and the race swap was not political, but you have interpreted it as political because of your own cultural differences and your own political biases.
The video is whitewashing, not just like...
She's just cutting straight to the bullshit. Taking a perfectly hot, fine machete and just chop, 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 chop. It's delicious. I love it. I love when our Englishmen, when the fucking British fucking put us Americans in our place when we're being stupid as shit. Especially the motherfuckers like Noah. And she added him in this. You gotta peep there, boy. She added him in this. And he ain't got a retort. This was 6 days ago. Where's that confidence, Noah? What happened, baby? Back to the shit.
Character, but a real human being, the actor playing the character. Making a real Black human being white and then saying that by doing this you're fixing them is racist. Yes, that is a racist thing to do. Sorry to break it to you this way, but I don't know what else to call it. So to return to this idea of bias, does Patience engage with any of these examples of racism in her video? No, she doesn't.
That I can give him. I do think that's a valid criticism. I definitely did not spend enough time, or any time to be honest, really addressing the racism backlash that had also occurred. And there is a part where I misspeak within the video and say that this is not happening because of racism, when I meant to say this is not only happening because of racism. I do have a bit more faith in humanity, and I don't believe that was the majority of people who were angry about this race swap. I think there were a variety of other reasons for why people were upset with it, which is why I made the video addressing all of those other reasons. But yes, I do acknowledge that some of the people who were upset with it were being racist, and maybe were upset with it because of racism. That's a valid point, and that's a valid criticism. I do take that criticism because I think that's valid.
Patience speaks to the notion that this casting decision is erasing redhead representation, but disgruntled redheads aren't the ones driving this backlash. Conservative influencers are.
There we go again, mentioning the conservatives. Keep account. I'm not going to allow people to not notice it. Pay attention to how many times he mentions conservatives and right-wing people in this video. As I said, my video was not intended to be political, and as I am the creator of the video, I know what my intentions were, and my video doesn't suddenly become political just because an American tells me it is. So no one makes references to conservative commentators who have also referenced the race swap or have referenced the red hair issue. Personally, I was not aware of that. The first time I was made aware of the weird thing that was happening between Black representation and redheads was from Young Ripper 59, who has made several videos on this topic. And another thing I really respect.
Oh, she knows. She knows. Oh, she knows. She knows, she knows. She knows, she knows. Yeah, she knows. She knows. She knows, she knows. She knows, she knows. Damn. Damn, Noah. Damn. It's almost like Carl has a finger on the pulse of the conversation. And he is not only calling the shit correctly, but is accurately putting you in their place. Because the example I was actually thinking of was Quintessa Swindell's Cyclone from Black Adam. And she didn't even do a bad job. It's just that her character didn't have anything to do, because that was mostly a film being carried on the back of Hawkman, who was cast by a Black actor, by the way, if you didn't know that. They did that the entire time. And of course the architect, the master, the man himself, being the perfect case example of Dr. Fate I think we'll ever get on this side of the political aisle. It's almost like I know what I'm talking about when I say these things. It's almost like I'm talking specifically about shit that I remember. Damn. It's wild. I guess Carl's just not ranting just to rant. I guess Carl's going off because this shit's common. You know what ain't common? Sense.
And who has made several videos on this topic. And another thing I really respect about Young Ripper 59 is that he doesn't just complain about how much he dislikes race swaps, he also does something about it. You know, he creates original black stories in comic books to give the black...
No, don't put the money. Put the money on the screen. Please, tell me you have the screenshot of the millions that he made and was being kept away from by PayPal because they were trying to find a way to deplatform him, and they couldn't because he doesn't talk that kind of shit because he's a libertarian. Please tell me you have that screenshot, Patents. I will let you coach it. I will lick you. I will lick it for free. I'll get on my knees and say, yes, please, step on me. If you have that screenshot, please tell me you have it.
Representation that people deserve to have through original stories. But of course, Noah has to drive home the point that the redhead erasure points are being pushed by conservative commentators because, of course, Noah's purpose of this video is political. He disagrees with me and he doesn't like the fact that some of my views align with conservative because he finds that to be very, very problematic. Because he says within his own video, I'm growing very rapidly, and in the process, I'm going to grow a larger audience of people who will be able to hear my views. And that is concerning to him.
Patience has a smaller channel compared to mine. She's currently sitting around 70,000 subscribers at the time of writing. I don't think that will be the case for long. For one thing, her videos are consistently overperforming relative to her subscriber count. The video we're looking at today has almost 800,000 views, so the ideas presented here are getting traction. Mainly, though, just a few weeks ago, she posted her 10,000 subscriber Q&A, and again, she's currently at 70. If she continues on this growth path, which I believe she will, she'll be a very large channel relatively soon.
Now, the next point that Noah makes, I'm not going to lie to you, I have no idea what he's talking about. Like, none. I have no idea. I have watched it so many times trying to decipher what the hell he's talking about, and I've got nothing. But to give you a bit of context, because I will be cutting out all the parts where I'm speaking, because you've all watched my video, so you know what I said. But to give you some context, he's responding to the part where I say in my video that what Hollywood is doing with these race swaps is lazy pandering to a black audience. And so this is his response to me making that statement.
Performative pandering doesn't really work if you make your characters Aryan. If anything, the racist people we looked at earlier would love that. They use artificial intelligence to fix a real black actor by making her white. So like, why stop at the skin? Make her blonde, make her eyes blue while you're at it. Tattoo a swastika onto the frog.
So, anyone know what he's talking about? Anyone? Yes? No? Anyone? Because I have no idea what he's talking about. He's talking about an Aryan race, SWAT stickers, blue eyes. No idea what he's talking about. I had to have my sister listen to this point because I thought maybe I was the one that was slow. So I had her listen to it. It was hilarious. I was like, babe, please can you listen to this and try and tell me if you can understand what the hell he's talking about. So she puts my headphones on, right, and she listens to him make his point, and then she just goes, And so that gave me enthusiasm, right? Because I was like, okay, maybe she understands it, because if she understands it, then I'll be able to respond to it. And so I go to her, okay, so any idea what he's talking about? And she just goes, no. she goes, all I got was, why not Nazi? And then she goes, I think he's just throwing words and buzzwords and hoping that his audience doesn't realize that it doesn't make any sense. And at this point, I have to agree because I have no idea what he's talking about. But what I do know is that it has absolutely zero relevance to my video or anything that I said. He put a SWAT sticker on Sebastian, which I personally found to be highly disrespectful, okay? We stand Sebastian on this channel. That was very rude. Also, he calls Sebastian a frog. Sebastian is a crab, Noah. Don't misspecies him. But at the same time, at least we get some insight into what may have influenced some of his subscribers to come over to my page and call me a Nazi. Like, at least now we know where that reference came from.
The hair isn't the problem. The problem is race. It's the perceived threat against the preservation of whiteness. And what I find especially odd here is this insinuation that redhead representation is somehow more important than black representation. And no, Patience doesn't ever say this outright, and I don't think she'd necessarily agree with it on its own. However, is that not the implication here?
So a straw man has now entered the chat. So this is the part of the video where Noah accuses me of saying or implying that redhead representation is more important than black representation, which is very odd considering in my video I clearly said that we should keep the redhead representation that redheads already have and just simply create new black representation through original stories rather than race swapping. So if I'm saying keep the redhead representation that exists and create new representation for black people, surely that would imply that I think they're both important. I don't place one as being more important than the other because I'm advocating for us to have both. But like I said in the previous video, these all-inclusive types, they don't actually want inclusivity because they rarely want things added, more so asking for things to be taken away and replaced.
Redheads make up 1 to 2% of the population, less than a tenth of the black American population. Statistically speaking, they've actually been overrepresented in much of the media over the years. And if we contrast that with the historical underrepresentation of black people in Hollywood roles by way of racist exclusion, the countless examples of Hollywood's whitewashing of non-white characters, and blackface, of course, there's that. Justifying the backlash here in the name of representation doesn't make any sense.
The only point in Noah's video that was valid was me not acknowledging the racism aspect a bit more. Everything else past this point is just downhill, to be honest. Noah just starts making up his own arguments and arguing against his own arguments. At this point, I don't even know if we're even talking about my video anymore. This whole entire point that he's just made is based on the premise that I believe that redhead representation is more important than black representation, which are not views that I hold, nor are they views that I expressed in my videos. That is a view that Noah literally made up, and now he's counteracting his own point that he just created. And I also find it bizarre how Noah basically says that the fact that black Americans have been underrepresented in the media is the reason why these race swaps are good is very bizarre to me. Because if you wanted to make the argument that black Americans have been historically underrepresented within the media and that they should have more representation, I think that's a fair argument to make. But my question is, how does that justify race swaps? Why is that a justification for race swaps? It's almost as if in Noah's worldview, the only form of representation that black people can have is through race swaps, because the concept of simply giving black people their own original stories for some reason just doesn't seem to make sense to him.
For the young redheads who saw themselves in the 1989 Ariel, Bailey has red hair too. Can they not see themselves represented in this new Ariel, or does she need to be white for that to happen? And if she does, that's like a great opportunity for us to look inward and try and understand what that is.
The argument that Noah's trying to build here is I have a weird high value placed on whiteness, as if Ariel's whiteness is what's important here, which is false. What's important about Ariel looking the way she does is not because she's white, but simply because she's always looked like that. It's about simply keeping a character as they were in their original form. If Ariel was Asian and they were changing her into a different race, it would still be the same problem because you're taking her away from her original form.
The second major point that Patience raises in defense of the backlash over this casting is that of sentimentality. Humans are sentimental creatures, she says, and we don't appreciate it when our art and characters are changed to be different from how we remember them. And sure, these are all things that happen, right? Fandom backlash is fairly common, and the examples she gives are indicative of the types of attachments that we form to the characters that we enjoy. However, I feel like these examples don't really track here. For one thing, similarly to the redhead erasure point,
you would think from watching Noah's video that my entire video was just about redhead erasure, when that was only 2 minutes out of the entire 15-minute long video that I actually created. The parts that I spent the most time talking about, he addresses within 10 seconds. Like, he's very hyper-focused on that redhead point for some reason. For some reason, Noah decided to make that one of the centerpieces in his 30-minute long video about me.
The backlash to Bailey's casting is not being driven by the sentimental Ariel fandom. It's being driven by, well,
centerpieces in his 30-minute long video about me.
The backlash.
I can explain exactly what that was, Patience. See, Noah cannot be able to defend against it. So what he's going to do is he's going to do a really fast concession, and he's going to then move from that to the thing he actually wants to focus on. It was really quick, and if you fortunately put the clip here, so I ain't gotta go back watch that shit again, I can just back, and just let him do it for himself.
That my entire video was just about redhead erasure.
I feel like these examples that happen, right? Fandom backlash is fairly common, and the examples she gives are indicative of the types of attachments that we form to the characters that we enjoy. However, I feel like
right there. That entire section right there
is that of sentimentality. Humans are sentimental creatures, she says, and we don't appreciate it when our art and characters are changed to be different from how we remember them. And sure, these are all things that happen, right? Fandom backlash is fairly common, and the examples she gives are indicative of the types of attachments that we form to the characters that we enjoy. However,
she is right. I can't stop her. I literally have nothing to that. But
I feel like these examples don't really track here. For one thing, similarly to the redhead erasure point,
you would think from watching Noah's video that my entire video was just about redhead erasure, when that was only 2 minutes out of the entire 15-minute long video that I actually created. The parts that I spent the most time talking about, he addresses within 10 seconds. Like, he's very hyper-focused on that redhead point for some reason. For some reason, Noah decided to make that one of the centerpieces in his 30-minute long video about me.
The backlash to Bailey's casting is not being driven by the sentimental Ariel fandom. It's being driven by, well, racist internet trolls. Who is saying this? Who is labeling everyone as racist? It's being driven by, well, racist internet trolls and amplified by conservative influencer.
Back to the conservatives again. Noah loves to talk about those conservatives. And yeah, now he's simply painting it as if the only people who have an issue with this were conservatives, completely dismissing the countless black content creators who also express having an issue with this. In Noah's video, he provides one example of a black content creator who agrees with his views. And what I find interesting about that, Noah, is whilst you were searching for black content creators who agree with you, you really mean to tell me that when you were searching for black people's opinions on race swaps, you didn't happen to come across these videos as well?
When they want to do live action depictions of classically, let's say, white characters, just as an example, being changed to black characters, right? A list of them certainly have popped up in recent years. What they are saying is that there's this list of black characters that exists. Instead of expanding on them, doing live action depictions of them, we would instead like the race change, the classically white character, and give you the sloppy seconds. And instead of giving, not necessarily giving you the characters, half the time already exist. Instead of basing material off of those characters that are historically black, classically black, and that already exist, instead we'll race change the white ones. And that shit is insulting, right? They have said that fuck your characters that already exist. You don't deserve to get years put in the grinder, right? Years of building, character building, expansion. Instead of doing that, we'll just give you a hand-me-down, right?
It's troublesome to me that we have yet again another race swap that seems, at least at this point, utterly unnecessary. There's military might displayed through expansion and conquest, scientific exploration, political intrigue, court antics, and family drama ready-made for film or television. But we know the reality is that, for me in Hollywood especially, they aren't going to dive into history that deeply for originality or the unknown, despite most of us probably longing for anything that we haven't already seen. There is an entire world out there of legends and heroes that we're denied solely because studios don't want to invest.
Race swapping is stupid. I find it distasteful, disheartening, and downright insensitive in different aspects. You should be happy, grateful, elated that you have any representation. It's either this or nothing. No, I prefer nothing. We have been put in a subservient position, as has always been the norm. It has just changed in the way that we are given the table scraps. We are essentially being treated as the proverbial dog begging its owner.
Can I have some human food, please? Except human food in this scenario would be, can I have a character, please? Oh yes, Black Superman looks delish.
You want to know why Black Panther was so successful? Because from his very inception, he was a black man in Africa who was in charge of a kingdom of people. And along with that major responsibility, he was a superhero.
He was not White Panther before, and they turned him into Black Panther. He has always been such.
These race swap characters are hand-me-downs. They were not created with intent, purpose for us. They were asides. They were afterthoughts. Very profitable afterthoughts. Because simply coloring someone a different skin tone will generate you black dollars. This is what you want at the end of the day.
We are sick and tired of race swaps. We want original stories. And Noah here is simply saying that, well, tough shit. It's so interesting because this is the same camp that says things like, we need to uplift black women's voices. And then the black woman comes and talks about representation and Noah says, shut up, take what you're given. I don't feel very uplifted, Noah.
But from here, it seems that this appeal to sentimentality is being utilized by these trolls and right-wing culture war manufacturers. So Patience's conclusion in this video is that instead of race swapping these characters, we need more black stories. Stop the pandering remakes and make new, good, non-white centered stories instead. This is by far the best reason one could give for disagreeing with Bailey's casting. It's the most popular reason, found in plenty of other YouTube videos and many comment sections. And it's also, I think, profoundly unconvincing.
When I tell you, when I first watched that part, I died.
Profoundly unconvincing.
Oh, I'm so sorry, Noah. I didn't realize that I had to convince you about my feelings about my representation. The superiority complex is wild. Like, Noah, who gave you the authority to tell me how I should feel about my representation? And who told you that you have the authority to decide whether or not you're convinced about my feelings about my representation? Why do I need to convince you? Why do you need to be convinced about how I feel about black representation? It's just, I can't wrap my head around it. It's like, imagine going to your friend and being like, you know that thing you said to me the other day, I actually kind of hurt my feelings. And then they turn around and go, I'm convinced. Noah, I think you might need to
look inward
to understand where you got your superiority complex from, where you think that sense of authority came from, that you think you have the right to tell a black woman how she feels about black female representation. Where does that sense of authority come from, Noah? I think you might need to look inward.
While I completely agree that we do need more stories like this conclusion represents a false dichotomy. They're saying that instead of Black Ariel, we need more black stories, but the obvious question in response to that is, why not both?
Well, the obvious answer to that, Noah, is that many black people don't want race swaps. We just want the original stories. We don't see the need for the race swaps. Race swaps just cause two divisions, polarizations, and angry people. They lead to people like Halle Bailey receiving loads of disgusting comments and disgusting messages from people who are angry about the race swap, which is completely unnecessary and would have been completely avoided had Disney just simply done an original story. Because the thing is, when you race swap, you piss people off and people retaliate in disgusting ways. And as someone who's spoken so much about racism, I imagine that you care about racism. So I can't imagine why you would support a practice that encourages people to become angry and retaliate in racist ways.
Not even Patience necessarily, right? But any of these media people, the primary sources of this backlash. Are we really supposed to believe that they care about black stories? I think, and maybe this is is just a hot take, but I think they don't care. They don't care at all, not one bit. And the reason for that is, well, the only time they seem to talk about it is when the sanctity of
Why
white
did you
characters
walk
is being
in and
threatened
just start
by
crashing
wokeness.
me?
Wokeness being, again, black people, black actors. That's what they mean when they say it.
And this whole idea that woke equals black, like where did you get that from? Like where did you learn that from? This is the thing, right? There's this like thing that people say often that a lot of these white liberals who claim to care so much about black people don't actually have any black friends in real life. I struggle to believe Noah has any black friends in his real personal life, and he's still walking around thinking that the word woke means black. Like I just don't know if I'm buying that. Again, he's hyper focusing on Ariel's whiteness, and it's very weird because, as I said, it's not about the fact that Ariel was white. It's about the fact that she's not in her original form and how she was when she started. We would be having this exact same conversation if they decided to race swap Mulan or Pocahontas or Tiana from Princess and the Frog. We would be having this exact same conversation because at the end of the day, most people who are against race swaps are against race swaps. Period. The only reason we're able to have this conversation when it's a white character being race swapped is because only the white characters get race swapped. So inevitably, when they are the only ones getting race swapped, every conversation we have around race swapping is inevitably going to be about white characters.
What's really wild about this point to me is the assumption that the people celebrating more black representation in media, like Bailey playing Ariel, aren't also advocating for more standalone black stories. That there are droves of black people who want representation at the expense of new original stories.
I would love to see these original stories that Disney has on their hard drive. Considering the last time we saw a black Disney princess was in 2009, I would love to see these original stories. Disney's very busy with their race swaps, not very busy with the original stories though.
It is frustrating, right? Because clearly these desires, many of them genuine, have been taken advantage of in this backlash. They've been co-opted by people who definitely don't care about black stories and use as a thin mask to hide their racist dog whistling. And I just want more people to understand that that is what's going on. That is what you're propping up when you use this argument against the casting of a black actor.
So are we just supposed to just not talk about our issues? So if we have an issue with race swapping and stuff, we're supposed to just keep quiet because in doing so we prop up people who you don't like and who you disagree with, who happen to agree with us. So we should just shut up and not talk about our issues. This is the reason why I say on my channel that you should not become obsessed with these left-wing and right-wing labels, and why I say you should avoid echo chambers and you should expose yourself to different views. If you are a left-winger, you should expose yourself to right-wing views. If you are a right-winger, you should expose yourself to left-wing views for a number of reasons. The first reason is if you don't, you become like Noah. Noah is so far gone with his far left ideologies that he now does not care about having actual conversations. All he cares about is winning. That is literally what he cares about. He has decided that the far left is his team, and that is who he wants to defend all the way to the end. Even though the stuff that I'm saying also echoes the sentiments of many black people who are sick and tired of having race swaps be our main form of representation, he's uninterested in that because all this is to him is a game of politics, and I am just a piece on a chessboard, and I am not moving in the way that he wants me to move, and so that is why we have a problem. Because that is what many of us minorities are to these white liberals, is just pawns in their political game. In fact, Malcolm X even spoke about this decades ago.
In this crooked game of power politics here in America, the Negro, namely the race problem, integration, civil rights issue, are all nothing but tools used by the whites who call themselves liberals against another group of whites who call themselves conservatives, either to get into power or to retain power. Among whites here in America, the political teams are no longer divided into Democrats and Republicans. The whites who are now struggling for control of the American political throne are divided into liberal and conservative camps. The white liberals from both parties cross party lines to work together toward the same goal, and white conservatives from both parties do likewise. The white liberal differs from the white conservative only in one way. The liberal is more deceitful, more hypocritical than the conservative. Both want power, but the white liberal is the one who has perfected the art of posing as the Negro's friend and benefactor. And by winning the friendship and support of the Negro, the white liberal is able to use the Negro as a pawn or a weapon in this political football game that is constantly raging between the white liberals and the white conservatives. The American Negro is nothing but a political football, and the white liberals control this ball through tricks or tokenism, false promises of integration and civil rights. In this game of deceiving and using the American Negro, the white liberals have complete cooperation of the Negro civil rights leader, who sell our people out for a few crumbs of token recognition, token gains, token progress.
This is such a problem among a lot of white liberals that there's even memes about.
Stop! She's got the memes! She's got the memes! She has the memes!
Token progress.
This is such a problem.
She has them. She has them. She has them.
Among a lot of white
Ah, yes. Yes.
liberals that
Yes.
about it.
Yes. I stand the women who do the work.
People in Preach have even spoken about it.
What you're saying to me is, I don't understand basically what's going on in this situation. That I just had this
Also based. Wonderful, great for them to use the Gideon clip. Yes, absolutely.
45-minute conversation that we cut down. That in this 45-minute conversation, I have no idea what was happening and stuff like that, and I need to relook everything. That's basically.
Yeah, that is what he's saying. Because again, in his head, he knows better than everyone. He's convinced he knows better than everyone, even though he's not that bright.
Also, it's great that you use this direct clip, because this is the exact reason why my reaction was that. For you to say that shit about Abbott and Preach, and when they went in on this, and the guy who was saying this stupid ass shit was willing to lie the way he did? Almost died there. When you have a regular case example of you trying to use a clip that should be well known to you, Noah, of fucking none other than Hassan attempting to tell Gideon that he doesn't get how racism works, and you effectively saying they're on the side of white supremacy because they criticize this motherfucker, you cannot be fucking serious, dude. You can't. There's no fucking way you could be serious.
Has a condescending attitude to anybody who disagrees or doesn't share his take. I get why it bothers you. You're a young man. You're not used to stuff. What I'm going to say to you is that get used to it. get very, very used to it, because white liberals be like that. They're the only group I've ever seen talk to me this way. I'm not even joking. They're the only group I've ever had talk to me like that.
There are some white liberals who have some sense of superiority complex, right? They think that they can come to black people and explain to us our own racist experiences. They can educate us on all of the racism that happens to us that we don't see because we're too dumb to actually think for ourselves. So they need to come in and need to help us see all of the things that they can see that we can't see. I am telling him that I don't think that race swaps are a good way to represent us and that original stories would be the best way to represent us. You would think that he'd be at least a little bit open to hearing that out properly and actually give that argument some actual thought rather than just simply saying it's unconvincing. But he doesn't, right? Because the honest truth is that he doesn't actually care how I feel. He doesn't care how black people feel about this race swap. He just cares about politics. In Noah's mind, I'm a piece on a chessboard and I'm not moving in the way that he wants me to move. I am stepping out of line, as one might say, and Noah is politely reminding me to get back in my place. Noah fails in his video to justify race swaps. He fails to tell me why they are necessary. His point of view is just simply, why not? But that's not good enough. You need to tell me why you think that these race swaps are necessary. Because I've told you why I don't like them and I told you why I disagree with them and I've given you my points as to why I think they're unnecessary. But seeing as you think you have more authority than I do to speak on this matter, I would really like you to tell me why you think these race swaps are so necessary. And also simply black people telling you that they don't want race swaps should be enough for you to consider the fact that maybe we should have them. But of course your opinion matters more than mine, Noah. You know best. All-knowing white liberal, you are the messiah.
I do think that this video serves to normalize white supremacist rhetoric in a way that might not be intended. The most visible function is to validate racism, to validate those who want to protect whiteness as an identity, to defend the cultural hegemony of white supremacy. But like, okay, my fear here is that videos like this open up the possibility, not just ideologically, but algorithmically, that people may be swayed into far-right thinking by starting with this seemingly innocuous interpretation of an anti-black controversy. Upon hearing this take from a creator who is co-opting the aesthetics of nuance without actually functionally providing that nuance, viewers may be pushed into anti-woke and eventually far-right echo chambers without realizing it until it's too late. If your content leans anti-woke, it's only a matter of time before YouTube plugs you in with some of the channels that we looked at today.
And now we get into the nooks and crannies of the real issue that Noah has with my video. He doesn't give a crap about how black people feel about black representation. His issue with me and my channel is that some of my views do align with conservative views, and because I am very moderate in my views and very moderate in a lot of my stances, my channel has attracted a combination audience. Some of my views are conservative, some of my views are left-wing. I think his biggest concern is that the left-wing part of my audience are going to suddenly be exposed to the most dangerous thing of all, which is a different perspective. God forbid people on the left explore some of the viewpoints that exist on the right, because that is scary. Because as much as Noah ironically challenges me on my points about echo chambers, I actually genuinely don't believe in echo chambers. Noah quite clearly does believe in echo chambers because he's essentially at this point fear-mongering to his audience about the dangers of them potentially being taken on the path of discovering alternative perspectives and alternative views. I actively encourage my audience, and I will always continue to encourage my audience to seek out perspectives from other content creators who think differently to themselves. As I said earlier in my video, I think those on the left should also explore the perspectives of those on the right. Those on the right should also explore the perspectives of those on the left, because in doing so, it will expand your mind and it will also humanize the people who think differently to you, rather than paint them as these scary, terrifying, evil beings like Noah does. Noah has thrown out so many buzzwords in this video. He's thrown out Nazi, he's thrown out Aryan race, he's thrown out white supremacist, he's thrown out far-right extremists. Funnily enough as well, within his video, one of the examples that he presents of far-right-wing extremists that he thinks that my content is a gateway to is Aberrant Preach.
If your content leans anti-woke, it's only a matter of time before YouTube plugs you in with some of the channels that we looked at today.
Aberrant Preach are one of the examples of the far-right-wing extremist commentators that he thinks that my content is a gateway to. Aberrant Preach have regularly said on their channel that they identify as being on the left. Granted, they're very moderate, they're a lot more closer to the center, they're very moderate. Center-left, I guess, is where they would probably align themselves. But to call them far-right-wing extremists is wild, and it very much does give a lot of insight into how far left Noah is in his own politics if he views people who lean towards his side as far-right extremists. I just think the projection here is just fascinating to watch, because he's accusing me of starting my own echo chamber when I actively encourage my audience to explore different perspectives. The best way for you to prevent yourself being in an echo chamber is to explore different perspectives, whereas he fearmongers his audience and tells them to not watch content like mine because they might descend into the possibility of exploring a different opinion. That is how you create echo chambers. That is exactly how they happen, when you essentially tell your audience to not listen to people who think differently to you. When you tell your audience to avoid perspectives that differ from yours. You, Noah, are creating echo chambers. And the irony is that your own audience doesn't even see that. They are praising you for this video, and they're coming over to my video and attacking me and accusing me of having echo chambers. Another reason why I would never tell my audience who they should watch and who they shouldn't watch is because, first of all, I am not your mum. I don't get to censor your content for you. I have enough faith in the intelligence of my viewers that they have the ability to explore a variety of different views and decide for themselves what information is worth taking in and what information is worth leaving behind. I don't doubt the fact that they have the ability to do that. And I do think that as an adult, that is a very important ability that you need to develop. The ability to not be a passive consumer of information, to be able to look at different things and explore different ideas and explore different pieces of information and different perspectives, and in the process make up your own mind on how you feel about it, rather than simply being told how to feel about it. Listen to different perspectives, seek out different information, and make up your own mind as an individual how you feel about it. Don't just make up your mind on how you feel about something just because your political team has that opinion. Don't decide your opinions based on what your political team tells you to think. Be a free thinker, and that's what I encourage on my channel, which is the complete opposite of what Noah encourages on his, and it's very unfortunate. The problem with politics is that it does encourage our tribalism to come out. It makes us very tribalistic. People start descending themselves into different teams. I am left wing, I am right wing. You shut yourself off from people who have a different perspective to you. You shut yourself off from people who think differently to you, and in the process you start your growth and your development as a person. Because when you open your mind and you explore different views, you just generally, one, become smarter because you just know more information, but also two, you realize that the people on the other side who you've demonized, like Noah has, are just human beings too. They just view the world slightly different to you, but that doesn't make them evil.
And I don't know, it worries me a little bit, because this ecosystem of content, it thrives on the death of nuance.
No, Noah, your political views rely on the death of nuance. They rely on people not seeking out different perspectives and different information. The fact that you seem to feel the need to shelter your audience from alternative perspectives, and the fact that you seem to feel the need to shelter your audience from discovering different pieces of information, kind of implies that your position relies on ignorance. It relies on your audience not knowing anything else outside of what you tell them. It relies on them not exploring other perspectives and not exploring other viewpoints on issues. If your views are so coherent and your views are so strong and you're so confident in your views, you should be very confident to allow your audiences to go and explore different perspectives and different opinions on issues with the confidence of knowing that they won't necessarily change their views. But if your views rely on no nuance because you don't encourage them to seek out different perspectives, then that kind of shows that you don't actually think they hold up on their own. If you have to police what your audience views and you have to tell them what to avoid and what not to avoid, then quite clearly they're quite flimsy. Because if all it takes is one of your viewers to watch a video like mine or watch a video like Aberrant Preach to completely change their mind, then those views can't be that strong on their own, then can they? So this has been quite a long video. My conclusion on this is that in the same way that Noah thinks my nuance is artificial, I think that his kindness is artificial. As much as many of his viewers think that this was him just being kind and, saying things in good faith, what this really was Noah is politely signaling to me that I need to get back in my place, because I can't have the views that I have. I can't think for myself. I can't have my own perspectives. Well, actually, that's not entirely true. I'm allowed to, provided they align with his. If my own views and my own perspectives aligned with his, this video would have not been made. Quite point blank, simply, it would not have been made. He's very much giving me the energy of Blackie, get back in your place. It's funny because my sister's dead convinced that Noah's...
Why do I have to keep refreshing this stream? Not sure. I actually changed some of the settings for the bitrate, and it's been stabilized for the last 5 streams. between both here and on Twitch, because I had it originally set to 10K, and I dropped it to 7K. I'm not sure why it would be refreshing. You would need to tell me what comes up when that happens, and where it's stuttering and why it's stuttering. Because I've had that criticism, and I've done everything I can on my end. I don't know what else I can do, other than I have to make more money to get fiber optic cable wired into my home. But unfortunately, I have Wide Open West. I feel like I need to get rid of their business, but I'm not the one that makes the call on that.
is racist, and the reason why she thinks this is because he's essentially telling black people how they should and shouldn't feel about their own representation. What are the odds that Noah now makes a video with one of his black friends to prove that he's not racist? If he does that, that would be both hilarious and predictable. And although I don't agree that Noah is necessarily racist, I don't fully personally buy that. I do have to admit that she does have a point though. He's trying to tell me how I should think, how I should feel about an issue that does not affect him. And it is very much giving white savior complex, and I don't really like it. He's swooping in like a good white savior, here to explain to me my racist experiences and to tell me how I should handle issues pertaining to my own representation. But the point is, Noah, I've got your message, and I understand exactly what you're saying. The problem is though, I am a free thinker, and I will continue to be a free thinker, and I will continue to express my views and express my perspectives and explain to my audience how I came to those perspectives and how I came to those views. If you disagree with them, that's just very unfortunate, isn't it?
There are many whites who are trying to solve the problem, but you never see them going under the label of liberals. That white person that you see calling himself a liberal is the most dangerous thing in the entire Western Hemisphere. He's the most deceitful. He's like a fox, and a fox is always more dangerous in the forest than the wolf. You can see the wolf coming. You know what he's up to, but the fox will fool you. He comes at you with his mouth shaped in such a way that even though you see his teeth, you think he's smiling. He's begging for a friend.
Based. And of course, we end with Xerxes. It's the last one, and then you'll hear from me tomorrow. Possibly. Maybe I will stream after this. I don't know, but I do know I need to make dinner. So, give me 1 second. I'll be right back. Give me 1 second. I'm gonna be right back. I'm gonna be right back. Okay. Dinner's still cooking for my mother, but I will now put on some music for you guys, so you're not just sitting here in abject silence. I know how y'all get. I can't play that song. I can't play that song. That has copyrighted shit, and I know for a fact they'll try to take down the stream. I'll be right back, guys. They haven't arrived here yet. Literally used the door 3 times today, and none of them was for your food. I swear, it feels like she's just always foosty. I am back. I returned. All right. No. No. Why are you asking me these things today and right now? That's nice. Anywho.
So, I'm actually not really a very big fan of Noah Samsen. In fact, I've recorded a couple of different video responses to him. I haven't actually uploaded because they were long as sin, because I talked a lot, because he said a lot of stupid nonsense. In today's video, however, I should be able to get it up because it's not going to be too long, but it is, I think, going to be very important. And that was a couple of points he was making in a video response he did to, I believe the young lady's name is Xina. Now, I'll preface by saying I actually don't agree with Xina on everything she says. In fact, sometimes I think that she's just wrong. Sometimes I think that she's a little too, dare I would say normie, a little too on the surface. She doesn't really go quite deep and complex enough to really warrant a good video discussion, I feel. Sometimes, not always, sometimes. So I'm not responding because I want to defend her. I could care less. In fact, I recently recorded a video where I actually criticized her a little bit. No, instead I want to talk about the idea of representation, because there's something Noah said that I'm very passionate about, or have been passionate about for very many years, that annoyed me greatly. So I'm going to be skipping a huge chunk of this video. Instead, I'm going to play you the conclusion that Noah comes to. This is what Noah believes that Patient Xina's video on, oh, you guys aren't even aware. Patient Xina's a video on The Little Mermaid, on how race swapping and not make good representation, or something of the other. I actually made a video similar to hers a couple of years ago that I actually think was a little bit better, which I'll explain, I guess, as this video goes on. But that aside, he responds to her video. And he wants to make the case that her video or the arguments presented in her video can be used as a veneer or can be used as a way for racist people to dog whistle their racism against or to reflect their umbrage against the recent casting of The Little Mermaid being played by Halle Bailey, I think her name is. The beautiful lady, but I just want to say Halle Berry, but she's not Halle Berry. She's Halle Bailey, I think. I don't know. Don't care. Point is,
phone call. It might
no,
be
it took
delivery. food has arrived, and this time I was smart enough to order a fucking coffee. Has anybody had, before I put this in my throat, has anyone had the Cinnabon coffee from Taco Bell? And if you have, can you tell me what it tastes like? And if it was enjoyable?
Umbrage with that. So again, I'm going to play his conclusion so you guys can understand what he was trying to attempt.
There was? Yes, I already have.
To argue for.
In there, echoing her conclusion that they really just want to see more unique non-white stories. However, by glossing over the actual nuance of this situation, by failing to include any of the very visible examples of racism that drove this backlash, and by giving in to the false framing that this casting is somehow at odds with standalone non-white centric films, I do think that this video serves to normalize white supremacist rhetoric in a way that might not be intended. Most of the points being raised here are fine when made in a vacuum. However, when they're made in opposition to the casting of a black actor in a white fish character role, their most visible function is to validate racism.
So that's his conclusion, which is a little interesting, right? To start with the end and not the beginning. And that's because I don't really want to go through the whole of this video. It's a video response to a video. No, instead, what I want to do is pick out some points that really reflects just how ignorant Noah is on the topic of representation, particularly for black people, and why he seems to not be able to understand why race swapping is quite the insult, or why race swapping is not a good example of representation, why it should never be used as a form of representation in any form of storytelling. And the obvious reason is rather simple, which I will expand upon as this video goes on, and that is, race swapping doesn't make sense within the logic of a story. What does that mean? It means that you cannot take a character that was established to be a white person and then swap them out for a black person and pretend that nothing in that story changes once that swap has been made. Because you know, and I know, that black men and black women are not treated like white men and white women. Anyhow, Noah, take us away.
Casting, and that's got to count for something among the fandom, right? Because that's their late. So Patience's conclusion in this video is that instead of race swapping these characters, we need more black stories. Stop the pandering remakes and make new, good, non-white centered stories instead.
I do agree that representation matters, and I think it is beautiful to see the reactions of young black girls seeing themselves represented as Disney princesses. And I think they should absolutely have that, but it should be done properly. And this isn't the way to do it properly.
This is by far the best reason one could give for disagreeing with Bailey's casting. It's the most popular reason, found in plenty of other YouTube videos and many comment sections. And it's also, I think, profoundly unconvincing. While I completely agree that we do need more stories like this conclusion represents a false dichotomy. They're saying that instead of Black Ariel, we need more black stories, but the obvious question in response to that is, why not both?
Now, you see, Noah, the reason why you think that that's a reasonable question to ask is, and pardon my elitism here, you're not a black person. You're not a black man. You don't relate to the experiences of black people. You don't see black people's stories being told on the big screen in mangas and comic books. And I mean, the best representation you've seen probably is all the same struggle porn of poor black person becomes entertainer, yada yada yada. That whole empire thing you probably see. That the only real way that a black man can get up from the hood is not doing intellectual pursuits, but only through entertainment, sports, and rapping, and sometimes trapping while rapping. You don't really understand the nuance of what it means to be a black man and to experience the world as a black person. Tell me, Noah, a bit of a question I must ask you. Have you ever been told that you can't date somebody because they aren't attracted to black men? You ever been told that you can't be with somebody because their father will literally disown her if she found herself with a black person? Your character not in question. Who you are not in question. But your skin, Noah. Your skin in question. Something that you had no control over. Hey, Noah, I got a little bit of a question for you. You ever instill fear in people just by existing, Noah? You ever just be, and people are worried by your presence? I've experienced that, Noah. Funny thing about that is I'm a rather polite, soft-spoken individual that don't really do nothing to nobody whenever I'm out and about. Yeah, despite the fact that I don't do nothing to nobody when I'm out and about, even I have still elicited fear. Now, to be fair, I am 6'1". Perhaps it is indeed my stature as well that terrifies young white women. I don't know. Or maybe it might be all of the different stereotypes and the socialization that comes with being black. The interesting thing about being a black person is, no, I'm probably not even the greatest representation of black people. On account of my skin is a bit lighter than most anyway. You see, Noah, the thing is, being a black person changes the way the world reacts to you.
I agree too, Bass. Because I, as a chocolate caramel man, that chooses to speak permanently with a emotional asphyxiation, as though I am constantly trying to be the most racist character depiction of Kafka I could possibly be. People just see my complexion, and suddenly I can't date their white daughter. I could never be husband material, because he's one of those. When people find out that I was an ex-Fed and that I served both the Democratic and Republican parties, their opinion goes from, oh, you're one of the good ones, to, well, you're one of the bad ones, or, oh, you were one of the bad ones, to, well, you finally saw through it, and you're one of the good ones now. I'm not seen as a human being. I'm seen as a tool. kind of sucks. Kind of sucks.
Representation cannot be as simple in a skin.
Also, the coffee is not. It's not bad. I wouldn't say, oh my god, it's delicious, I'm gonna get it all the time. I haven't quite hit Jay's level of Dunkin' Donuts Cappuccino Blast. But it's alright. It's alright. It's alright.
In deep as just putting a black person on screen. You can't take Liu Kang, champion of Mortal Kombat, and make him black, and then say, here you go, representation. You're black, he's black. Swear. It erases the history of that character. It wouldn't even make any sense if you made Liu Kang black. What are you gonna do, change his name to Liu Quan? How does it even make sense that a Shaolin monk, orphan, trains to be one of the best defenders of Earthrealm? How did this black person get to China to begin with to lose their parents and then be taken in by Shaolin monks? The entire integrity of the story is goofy and has to be over-explained to get there. Otherwise, its internal logic is just broken by that change alone. In fact, let's ask ourselves a very interesting question. How does one retain melanin in their skin in the depths of the ocean? How can Ariel, indeed, be a black person? Magic, perhaps, let's just say that. The question is, will her blackness have any effect on the story? I have no way to know. I haven't seen the movie yet. But I can guarantee you, with a lot of certainty, it will not. And that's the problem with representation. Jimmy Olsen and the Supergirl. I've only watched a couple of episodes, but they changed this short, mousy ginger man into a tall, maybe 6'3", I think he was, handsome black dude that was somewhat of a love interest to Carl from what I remember. I didn't keep up with Supergirl, but I saw a couple of episodes. Did the world change? Did the world reflect the fact that Jimmy Olsen was black? No. And that is the problem. You can't just take a character. And particularly, it seems a bit goofy that constantly it's always these redhead ginger characters. You can't just take a character, palette swap them, and then tell us to be happy that they're just there, that they're not actually reflecting the experiences that black people are having. You wanna know what made Black Panther so interesting, so unique? What made Killmonger such an interesting, unique villain? Despite the fact that numerous people who said Black Panther's just not that special. Black Panther, who cares about it? Black Panther, you know, it's just a typical Marvel film. The reason why it resonated with so many black people is because they could see the struggle in Killmonger and in T'Challa. To intellectually break that down would make this video hilariously long. But if we just stick to Killmonger, a young man who was raised on the street, raised in the hood, he lost his father and didn't have any connection to his heritage. Now, hey, that sounds a lot like a lot of black people here in America. No connection to their heritage, no idea where they came from, where their tribe was in Africa, you know, only have a history of slavery around. Killmonger sees the destitution of his people around him and says, wait a minute, we could do so much more with what we have. And he struggles and fights to obtain that. What makes Killmonger so interesting in his villainy is the fact that he had a great point. His methods, awful and cutthroat, probably should not have been done, but the points that he was making was something that resonated with black people. A feeling of seeing our people destitute, seeing our people weak, seeing our people not as strong as they could be and wanting to change that. The reason why, Noah, you can make the dumbass statement, can't we just have both? As if it's the same to just take a character and just paint them a different skin is it's ludicrous, it's stupid. You can only say that because you don't have an understanding of what it actually means to be a black person and relate to these stories. Continue.
Disney has been remaking their old films in live-action format for a while now. And while yes, many, if not most of them are trash, the live-action Little Mermaid was inevitable. It was going to be made regardless of who was playing Ariel. And of course, it's not out yet, so it may not even be trash. But having a black lead in a movie that is 100% going to get made doesn't like delete the script of a different original black-centered story from Disney's Google Docs, right? No, that is not what happens.
Yeah, no, but check this out. Notice how that script, that apparently exists, according to your hypothetical, was not put into production. What was put into production was a remake of The Little Mermaid to tell us the same story that has nothing to do with blackness, the relationship black people have in America to each other, to white people, to white culture, just a fantastical story in general. It's just The Little Mermaid, but black. It's skin deep. If anything, it's hollow. Why is it even important that the young lady is black? And to that extent would be a great argument, right? What difference does it make if she's black if the story has nothing to do with it? But then, of course, that would be the whole of the argument. Why should she be black if it has nothing to do with the story? If the story doesn't change to reflect the fact that now she is a black person, why have we made the change? And the answer, I believe, is rather simple. It's to generate both controversy, it's to generate some type of pandering to this nuance, or to create pandering, not even any nuance, in order to get more black people into seats of these theaters, to be simply appeased just by, once again, the veneer of something, rather than the actual portrayal and character that should be important. And honestly, what would have been a much better argument for you to have made here is honestly to suggest that race doesn't matter to begin with. That stories are timeless and great because these elements and characters can be reflected far beyond simply just the way these people look. But of course, that's not where you want to go with this, so continue.
The movie's already being made.
True.
Backlash over bad Disney remakes doesn't have to mean backlash over this casting, but they are being grouped together here, and you don't have to look far to figure out why. Another question I have about this conclusion here is, like, were you asking for black stories before this controversy?
No, Noah. I was not asking for more black stories before this controversy. I created them. You see, because when I was young, I had a thought to myself. I said, I find it interesting that I don't see very many main characters that look similar to me. They've got a cool, badass afro. They're kind of nerdy, but still nice, polite. A little snarky, a little snippy here and there. They do what's right. They protect their friends, their families. They fight monsters. They fight villains. They have these great, fantastical stories. I said, I don't really see that very often. Why don't I make one? No, I didn't ask for these bloody stories to be made. I made them myself. I didn't sit here and wait for somebody to do it. I wrote it. And I have many other ideas as well for strong, positive, fantastic representations of black people. That isn't just thugs. That isn't just struggle porn. It isn't just them just selling weed. It isn't just the same nonsense over and over. As if black people can be more than just poor people in a destitute area. That they can't reflect virtue. They can't reflect different positive values. They can't be greater than the fact that they were slaves once in America. Tired of that. I wanted more. So I decided to write more. I have many ideas of great, wonderful stories. So no, I didn't ask for more black stories. I wanted to create them. Young Ripper, Air July, made them. You see, the ridiculousness of such a statement, again, shows to me, I find it interesting that you just have no idea what you're talking about. I don't even understand why you felt the need to sit here and record this video, to talk about the racism or the racist dog whistling of all these different conservatives. When you, Noah, you have no attachment, no consideration, no thought to the importance of these stories. Think hard, Noah. Think very hard. Let me paint you a little bit of a picture, now shall I? So Static Shock, is, in its nature, a black interpretation of Spider-Man. It is. It's inspired by Peter Parker. Virgil Hawkins, nerdy, intelligent kid who gains superpowers and uses his cleverness to solve his problems and defeat his foes. But you know what splits the difference between them? You wanna know why Static, despite the fact that he's clearly inspired by Spider-Man, is so different and unique? Multiple different cultural things. One, the association with electricity as a power for black people as a homage to Black Lightning. But more than that, how Static comes to the understanding of with great power comes great responsibility is a lot different than how Peter Parker did. Whereas Peter Parker learns that his selfishness kind of is the reason why his uncle died. Virgil gets the opportunity to hurt the very person who was bullying him. But because of the fact that he remembers that his own mother was killed by a gun, killed in gang violence, even though he had the opportunity to participate in the same gang violence that leads to death and destruction, Virgil made the choice to not be that man. And that, Noah, that is what representation is. Virgil Hawkins represents a black man that had a choice to be a gang member, to use violence to get what he wants, to seek revenge against those who has wronged him, or to be a man of character, to do what's right, and use the power you have to protect the people that can't protect themselves. That, Noah, that's representation. That's why it's important to have these characters. You can't just make Peter Parker white. I'm sorry, you can't just make Peter Parker black and then just say, here you go. Black, he black, you black, done. There is a history, there's a culture, there's a story, there's a meaning to what it means to be black. That Virgil Hawkins as a character, despite the fact that his inspiration and even his portrayal is very similar to Spider-Man, reflects closer more to young black men than it could to young white men. That is what makes representation for black characters important. That's why you can't have both, you muppet. You can't just take a white character and paint them and say, here, nothing changes. Context doesn't change, the story doesn't change, the themes don't change, nothing changes. They're just black now. Despite the fact that we know in the world we live in, a lot of stuff changes when you're black.
Not even patients necessarily, right? But any of these media people, the primary sources of this backlash. Are we really supposed to believe that they care about black stories? I think, and maybe this is just a hot take, but I think they don't care. They don't care at all, not one bit. And the reason for that is, well, the only time they seem to talk about it is when the sanctity of white characters is being threatened by wokeness. Wokeness being, again, black people, black actors. That's what they mean when they say it. They pull out their what if Black Panther was white trap card, their racist Black James Bond impressions, only when they feel like their white identity is being erased or replaced. Perhaps many of the people coming to this conclusion, evidenced in the comments, do actually care and do want to see more standalone, diverse Hollywood films. I really have no reason to believe that they don't. However, it is frustrating, right? Because clearly these desires, many of them genuine, have been taken advantage of in this backlash. They've been co-opted by people who definitely don't care about black stories and used as a thin mask to hide their racist dog whistling. And I just want more people to understand that that is what's going on.
So I essentially let him talk there to show you guys that I'm not making it up. Like that's what he really believes. That there might be some people out here, like myself, who genuinely find umbrage here. But what we're actually doing is we're giving credence to the racist people. That we shouldn't be able to vent these frustrations out because they're not actually earnest. Because you guys can just have both. It's okay. It's not actually an insult that doesn't really make sense. No. It's not just pandering, to get you guys to be quiet, and be content with the table scraps of different film portrayals and whatnot. No. You guys can just do both, even though we kind of really don't. No, we're being used by all of these racists on the internet. These people are so racist that they want black people to have their own stories, huh? I guess that's not what you're implying. I guess what you're implying is that they're so racist that they don't want their white characters to be replaced by black characters. Why's that even racist to begin with, now that I think about it? In fact, to be honest with you, why would anyone want a character to be replaced when you can actually have a good character, have its own stories, have their own adventures, and change and grow on their own? In conclusion, listen, I gave my opinion on this a couple of years ago. Honestly, I don't really think Ariel's a great character. I don't really like her all that much. From what I remember, when I watched Little Mermaid, she wasn't very inspiring. There's some good qualities to her. I mean, she is kind-hearted to an extent. I mean, she didn't really save someone just from the goodness of her heart, but because she was like romantically attached to him. It would have been better to kind of see her be a little bit more heroic beyond that. But seeing a young lady, though reckless, abandoned for her whole family so she could go get married to some dude she doesn't really know, might be a more adult, mature reading of what occurred, but that is literally what happened. I'm not sure if I really want young black women to identify with that character. There might be some more nuance to Ariel that I'm just being uncharitable about, but from what I remember, she's not a great portrayal of women, okay? She's not. More importantly than that, though, if you want to move a little bit further,